Good morning, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
Everybody, welcome to the Peace and Pivot Summit. Okay, my green screen's just doing weird stuff this morning. There we go. Look at we're working. Good morning, Juliet. Good morning, Elizabeth. How's it going today?
I'm
Really good.
great, thank you. Thanks,
Really
Scott.
good.
Yeah, we're
Really
excited.
glad.
So,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Elizabeth. I'll shut up.
It's okay. Yes, we all like to talk, all three of us. So I'm Elizabeth Bachman, and I'm a friend of Juliet's, and then Juliet introduced me to Scott, and we've been doing various things. And I've been thinking about what can we do to be, how can we do to pivot our businesses considering how much is changed now, and pivot and plan. And Juliet said, and come to peace with the fact that everything's changed. Indeed. And it started out, Juliet and I were going to have a 10-minute Facebook Live conversation. And then we said, no, we needed more people. And Juliet said, let's ask Scott to be part of it. And I said, yes, absolutely. Oh, good. And we now have 2 days worth of experts to talk about coming to peace with the fact that everything's changed now, how much it's changed and how much what the new normal is going to be, how different will that be? And how do we take that into account and pivot? So I seem to have Scott on my screen, so I'm going to turn it over to Scott for a moment to see what your thoughts are about today.
Well, I think it's always exciting. I think everything's going on, and I think everybody at some point has to pivot their business in a variety of ways. I know Julie and I have talked about that quite a bit over the last few months in a variety of issues before we've run into this chaos out there, right, Juliet?
Yes, definitely.
So let's. I mean, for a lot of people, they're going through a lot of chaos right now, figuring, okay, how do I put my business online? How do I take it from a face-to-face, person-to-person business or a brick-and-mortar business to something that's online and virtually still connected with my clients? The world is constantly evolving. Fortunately for us, years ago, we moved and went away from in-person hotel kind of teachings to virtual events, and it's paid off well for us and helped out and a variety of people here with everything going on. But I think it's the beautiful thing is we are in such a it really is a small world where people really do have a big hearts to help out at this point. So Juliet, you kind of been spearheading a lot of this stuff as well too. So why don't you talk about what the Peace and Pivot Summit kind of means to you as well?
Well, I have to say, I saw a lot of people go out and say, let's throw a summit. And by the way, your business isn't going to survive unless you have a summit. And I thought, oh my gosh, look at all this fear. A lot of small businesses are not online. And I just felt like we needed to do something different that was more in service. So that's really what it's all about. I talk to people every day and they're anxious and they're really not understanding what their next steps are. Even people who are already online. I know there are a lot of people that aren't, but those people who are kind of at the point too, where like, whoa, what just happened? So that was kind of where I thought about this is, the piece is we're all in this together and let's figure out why we're anxious and what's going on. And hopefully some of this morning's guests can minimize that a little bit. And, what's my pivot financially? What is my pivot that I can do today that I don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff? Because I think for most of our people, we have content and hopefully tomorrow you're going to get some great content ideas that won't cost much. Because it's just not the time to go out and be fearful and make people think that you have to do one thing. There are a lot of different things you can do. So that's sort of where the genesis of this started for me was I had a pit in my stomach when I was watching some of these people go out and tell them this is the only way, this is the only pathway through this. There are always options.
Yeah, I'm also finding that there are a lot of people who are stuck in fear. And then they think, now what do we do? But what do I do about my bank account? And then what do I do? And so I sort of think of this morning is about mindset. And this afternoon is about money and moving forward. So we could make it the 3M conference, except that name was taken. So uh,
They're just a small company, goes by 3M too out of
it's just
Minneapolis.
little bitty
Yeah,
company.
just a
Yeah,
little
I
small
know.
company.
We should
I
sue
know.
them for that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
So
Do we
ladies,
have time?
So
Yeah.
as people are logging in or people are joining us on Facebook and stuff like that, we encourage you to use a couple of things. We'd love for, first and foremost, if you're watching on Facebook, to share this. Click this and share this to your profile. This is a free event. It is not a pitch fest. They can go to peaceandpivot.com and register directly there. They'll take them straight to the Zoom link and they can join the webinar. We want to thank you all those that are joining us here online. But if there's a nugget, if there's a discussion, one of our speakers shares something, take a screenshot and then share it with hashtag peace and pivot. And we'd love to see that stuff. You never know, we might have some door prizes or some special giveaways for folks to share it across the board for things like that. Hashtag peace and pivot.
Where?
Oh, we got somebody coming on here. Let's see here. We got to mute some people there. I think Michelle's getting her coffee.
Oh, Michelle's on.
She's on early this morning, and I see Chef Marie's also joining and watching as well too. We'll get to those amazing people, but why don't we go? Why don't you ladies, let's talk about day one here. What's on tap for those that are joining the Peace and Pivot Summit?
So this is Elizabeth again, and we have our first three speakers are Rhonda Britton, who is Oprah's life coach, who's talking about fear and living fearlessly, which is really wonderful. And that's followed by the amazing Tina Greenbaum, who is a high performance coach also. And she talks about, her company is all about mastery under pressure. And she's going to talking about how we're responding and grief being a normal response to abnormal times. And then we have Michelle Young, who's actually on the line, who's going to talk to us about moving forward. And those are the first three. And then in the afternoon, we have Laura Posey talking about a one-page, get your plans done in one page. And Penelope Jane Smith talking about managing irregular cash flow if you have an irregular income. I always like that one. I've learned a lot from her. And then after that, we have help. I'm blanking. I'm not even looking at my list here.
Meryl Chandler.
Meryl Chandler, right?
Come on,
I know it was another M, right? Meryl Chandler about millionaires being made in crisis. And we end the speakers with Dom Fawcett, who is fabulous about really getting yourself in gear and so forth. And at the end of the day, we're going to have virtual networking plus a wine tasting. And actually, Chef Marie is going to give us some tips about cooking at home when you're shut in. And is Ross joining us for wine tasting?
Yes, I talked to him. He's going to try to make it. He's got a very busy day, but I talked to him a few minutes ago. I think he'll show up for a little bit, and then he'll be here again tomorrow for the pivot panel as well. So
perfect. Yeah. So do one of you want to talk about tomorrow, what we're expecting for tomorrow?
Juliet?
Do we want to do that or do we want to surprise them? No, I'm just kidding. So tomorrow's really going to be about your pivot plan that's in action. Scott's going to be on in the morning talking about how you can do that, putting that plan together. And I think that's going to be such a great complement with Laura Posey's financial on one page, because I think you can put those side by side and really see where you're going and what you're doing. After that, we're going to have Leanne Marie Webster talking about summits, how to create virtual events and what the secret is to really making a great one. You can tell all of us are, no, I'm just kidding. All of us already know. And then after that, we're going to talk about crisis or opportunity. Elizabeth's going to be talking a little bit about some strategies to get you heard above the noise. Because if you've been out on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those things lately, there's a lot of noise. Everybody's figured out they need to be online doing this, but a lot of them aren't quite sure how to do that. And then I'm going to be talking about lead qualification and how it serves everybody. It's really important right now to be talking to the right people and getting those people, building those relationships. This is not the time to rely on clicks and funnels because people want to talk to real people. And then after that, Tracy Hazard's going to be talking to us about creating digital brand awareness and credibility. She is an Inc. magazine contributor and knows all about doing that. And then we're going to be pivoting into Patrick Precourt, who's going to be talking about pivoting when life punches you in the face. I'm sure that's going to be very comical.
Patrick,
But
here's a little story about Patrick. Patrick is pivoted several times from the real estate side to short sales, everything going on. He built a big show. He's one of the big guys behind Fortune Builders and building their brand across the reality TV. Flip This House, their coaching and stuff like that. Then he's also at age 40, he decided he was going to be an MMA fighter. So that tells you, because he's got a big gym in Connecticut where he's at, and he's a great. So I don't want to take too much from it. I don't know if you'll get to this because he's got a little different story each time. But at the age of 40, he trained for months, jujitsu and all this stuff. Walked into the first fight, first punch, got knocked out cold.
oh,
And I think it's so pivotal, hashtag, with that, because I think a lot of people are feeling that whole like cold cock to the right jaw with everything that's happened and put everybody in asunder basically out there with things going so crazy out there. So I thought a great way to wrap it. And his passion, energy, if you've never heard Patrick Precourt speak, will blow you away. And so you definitely want to tune in for that keynote. Dom's great keynote today as well too. I think we're really starting it off well and then ending well both days.
yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we're going to end up with a pivot panel. We have some people we're bringing on that have done amazing pivots in the last couple of weeks. Ross Halleck has a subscription wine service or membership, and he changed it in a way that brought the whole community in. And so he's helping vendors out up in the Sonoma wine region, and magician Heather Rogers as well, who's hysterical, by the way. I've seen interviews with her, and she's going to be on that pivot panel too and talk a little bit about that. So really excited about day 1 and day 2, and the fact that you're going to get all this great information without a bunch of salesy pitches. So that really excites me too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, hopefully Heather can help us all pull a rabbit out of the hat.
I usually say my butt, but we're in public, so.
So let's do this. What's a couple things while we're waiting? Rhonda will be joining us here in a few minutes. She always comes on right at about the right time. But what's maybe a nugget for those that are listening or watching the replays? What's one big thing that you ladies have done in pivoting here in the last couple of weeks?
Juliet, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. So I was already kind of in mid pivot from the beginning of the year. But one of the things I've done is I'm really not taking on new coaching clients. And that's probably not a great pivot, but I'm just doing the Build for You quizzes instead, because I realized that there's a need while people are on these summits and out speaking and in different venues, that they really need that lead pre-qualification. So I'm in and out with the builds now. And I'm actually loving it much better. It's so kind of funny how when the universe kind of thumps you on the head and says, change, and you go, no, no, no. And when you have to, it works out and you realize, oh, wow, there was something better here. So I'm really loving that pivot that I'm doing a lot.
I'm also having fun really helping people think about what can you do now. So I work with corporate clients and with entrepreneurs, and it's really about taking into mind the fact that things have changed. One of the questions I sent out to all the speakers is, what do we do if this shutdown, lockdown situation or this economic situation lasts for 2 months and then we're done? What do we do if it lasts for 4 months? And what do we do if we last for 6 months? Please God, no, but that would be, what do we do? How do we make a plan for it? How do we think about it? How can we actually do something? And
I think the first reaction would be this.
Yay, he brought his toys. Did you bring the pig?
It's at the office.
Ah! My
send
unappreciated
somebody.
pig.
Sorry there. Didn't mean to take us off, Heather, Elizabeth.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I certainly have had plenty of times in my life where everything changed and I sort of curled up under the covers with an escapist novel and, ate a whole lot of ice cream. And I'm bound and determined not to do that this time. So this is part of the delight of this. And I actually feel kind of like a grown up for a change every once in a while. Is that okay? Pivoting, you can pivot. There are things to do. There are places to go. One of the things I really love is watching how many people are reaching out and being super creative in this time. Not all, some of the creative things are, it's like, okay, I don't really need to see that, but it's really fun to see how people are creating and developing all sorts of cool new stuff. This is the time. If you're not speaking yet, I'm a speaker trainer. So if you're not speaking yet, now's the time to be starting. Now's the time to be figuring it out and doing the legwork or the letting your fingers do the walking, so that when we start meeting in person again, and we will, then you've already got a community. You already know what you're going to say. So part of what I'm going to talk about tomorrow is how to be heard above the noise, to treat this as an opportunity. And there's a lot of noise right now. What makes you different? So that's a big part of what I'm looking at.
It makes a lot of sense. And that's the thing. I think we've all got different skills maybe that we don't realize. And I think it's honing in on, okay, maybe we can't do some of the things we do. What are the 3 or 2 or even 1 skills that we have, and narrowing it down is going to be productive, not only for us, but also value, like what Juliet's doing with just the quizzes now, kind of streamlining things. Hey, let's just do something that's impactful, that a lot of people can take on. The same thing here. We dropped went from doing a quarterly workshop. We dropped it down. Hey, let's do a 1-day class once a month and drop it down to like $19. So it's something at least affordable, but a little bit of investment on those that are interested. I think everybody's increased videos, increased amount of media that they're doing that's effective, whether it's being on podcasts as interviews or doing live training or video. I've seen people doing that. Woke up this morning to 2 of my friends doing yoga training online at sunrise from the beach, even in Florida, to other people just having meditation or virtual happy hours these days. We did one like that with our podcasting group last week, which was productive. Elizabeth, you were on that as well too for you.
It was really fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's the worst thing I think people can do is shelter in place and just hide. Bar the doors, huddle underneath the covers, and cry. We all probably cried the first few days as crazy stuff was going on, as things were getting canceled. But okay, we've done that. Pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, get to peace with what we're doing, and figure, okay, how do we do this? Because that's really the only way that you do lose is just to quit and not do anything. There's a variety of different things out there that we can all do to strive forward. And maybe it doesn't lead to immediate impact, but we can plant a whole lot of seeds that we can harvest in the future, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's really about resilience right now. You mentioned, like, I know I did the first 2 days while everybody was canceling. I was like, oh my gosh, oh, whoa. But, picking myself back up and just saying, okay, I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And however it works out, it works out. And for those of you out there who know me, that's so not me. So this is, I've talked to Michelle Young several times about, wow, this is kind of challenging. Like what happened to driver Juliet, but there's not a lot you can do in being a driver right now. You're not in control of all this.
Yeah. And you've
What
also,
a concept. We're not in control.
What'd you say, Scott?
I say you actually even moved in the middle of all this.
I did. And I haven't, guys can see, I haven't mastered the lighting in this new room yet. I have some stuff on order, but yes, I moved. But you know what? Moving was really a great experience because I always have to be doing something. And so it gave me time to pack and unpack and keep myself busy, because that's my biggest challenge right now is growing and keeping myself busy.
That's the big thing. Elizabeth, what's been the biggest challenge for you over the last couple of weeks?
The biggest challenge has been actually some things people haven't changed completely. Yeah, it hasn't changed that bit. What is that my clients have changed. So I'm creating new material. I'm creating material about how can I teach the things that I know are true that I can teach and nobody else teaches, and then reach out, really actually strengthening my relationships, because I fully believe the best thing to do, if everybody and their brother is out there doing online training, then the chance of getting brand new eyeballs is probably not so great. There's a lot of competition. But what I can do is strengthen the relationships with the people who do know me, the people who will answer, the people who will say, hey, that's Elizabeth calling. I will pay attention, I'll pick up. And so that's going back to what my dad told me in my 20s, and I blew him off, which is start with the people who know you and appreciate you, and then work out from there. So really going back to the basics.
Yeah, I think that touching base with your warm audience, reaching out to your friends and families and colleagues and vendors and people that you've worked with the most, that's the biggest thing. And a lot of people have been used, and Julie, you mentioned this a little bit before, and we see people that have tried to automate that warm feeling thing with bots, chat bots or autoresponders, and that works for a specific point, especially if you need you got a bigger audience or doing something. But I think you need within a couple touch points, you got to be touching those people on an individual basis. I don't think especially those that, I get tired of the chat bot. Is this the real person I'm trying to talk to, or am I getting another bot with an automated message? And those work great for a SEER team, but we also know that, hey, those algorithms change almost on a monthly, if not weekly basis with some of the social media platforms. So being able to tie in with people, make it something simple, like I love what you're doing there with your text quiz to 64600 where people can opt in. We've done the same thing. I've actually changed mine to on the different webinars. I wanted, hey, if people want to jump on a 30-minute phone call, they can with me. Just going by talkwithscottcarson.com. Something simple to get on schedules for people, and trying just to, hey, let's encourage that call. Trying to make sure, one of the things I like to do is like, okay, let's make sure I'm talking to 10 people a day that maybe I haven't talked to in a while, and just connecting and sharing, and hey, what's going on? What's working for you? What struggles do you have? Because everybody's got struggles out there. And I think the best thing you can do is talk to people who are going through the same thing, who maybe are helping you overcome. Like I see some people who are joining us on here. I love what Jim Ross is doing, who's one of the guys on here. He's the creator of the virtual self-storage summit, who's done a great job in that niche. And he's done a thing where he's bringing on weekly, doing small roundtable panels with people in that industry. So people bring on he's bringing on a few vendors to talk about the market and that type of real estate investments, what's going on, how they work with that. And that's been a really effective thing out there as well too. I would love to hear from our, we've got a few minutes before our first keynote speaker comes on, from those that are attending. What's one of the big issues that you guys are dealing with? Alexis, Briant, Christine, David, GA, Jim, Chris, Laura, Madhaven, hopefully pronounce that Mahadevan. If I pronounce that incorrectly, sorry. Mary Jo, Mike, Nathaniel, Sarah, even put up there to Michelle and Marie. What are some of the things, and you guys can use the chat role or the Q&A section. So if you're watching this on the Zoom, at the bottom of the control panel, you'll see a chat or you'll see a little Q&A. So feel free to type in your messages there, your questions as the speakers. But we'd love to hear a big thing that you guys are struggling with, or one, if that's not the case, one thing you're wanting to really get out of today and tomorrow at the Peace and Pivot Summit. And while they're typing in there, what's one creative thing that you've seen others do that you were like, oh, that's a great idea, ladies? Juliet, we'll start first with you, if you can think of anything.
Gosh, start with Elizabeth. I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Hot potato, back to Elizabeth.
Okay. Well, actually, one of the things, Heather Rogers was on my podcast. Actually, she was on my Facebook Live interview, which is going to be a podcast shortly. And she was talking about most of her business comes from performing at corporate events. So, being there live, doing her magic and her sort of mental training, helping people rethink themselves through magic. And so now what she's doing is she's going back to her corporate clients and being a special guest on some of the meetings to wake up the participants. So I've got all these people who are Zooming in there at a Zoom meeting, and they're actually eating lunch or texting during the Zoom because they can't be caught. She's there to get people more engaged. So I'm curious to hear how it all goes.
Cool.
And we have somebody here from Alexis Rego who says that I realized my marketing strategy relied on in-person networking too much. Now I'm diversifying and shifting more towards LinkedIn to create new connections. Shifted all hourly consultants to Zoom meetings. It's been simple.
Yeah, he is joining us from Hawaii, actually.
Yay.
If
Nice.
I'm Billy said, yeah, Alexis Rago, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the thing too. In-person networking is great. You can still accomplish that with Zoom. I'll actually be going through a couple of things tomorrow morning on a couple of things you can use with LinkedIn to help increase those connections or expand those connections or dive in and still be able to prospect and find potential clients or people that fall inside of your ideal client or avatar out there for you. So join us in the first thing in the morning tomorrow, Alexis. Michelle Young, or Michelle at Places, I'd love to hear what sort of piece and pivot process struggles the panelists have gone through themselves. We talked about that briefly. We'll come back to that. Sarah Farrar says it would be great for you to specifically address how to keep teams close and connected during this time. While we can do what we need to de-stress during this time, I'm finding a new source of stress, and that's keeping my team connected. It's a good one.
That is a really
I
good
just think one of the things that I have found from talking to people is the more you can bring your team together like this, and it doesn't have to be around work. I think it's one of these, hey, what's going on? Like we did this with the podcasters hangout last Wednesday night. What are you feeling? What are you stressed out about? You know, some people were very stressed out, like our friend Misty Phillips. Her husband had just been laid off, or other people have been furloughed. And so people trying to figure out opportunities, who's hiring, you know, applying for the SBA 7A loans or the disaster, you know, emergency relief grants that are available out there. So, you know, I think it's the biggest thing. It's just still coming together, just touching base. Hey, how are you doing? And then truly listening to your team's needs, because everybody has a whole variety of different things, right, ladies? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, one of the big pivots that that I've seen that I've really, really liked was one of my clients, Brooke Walker, works with people who have escaped from cults. She grew up in a cult, and she has taken those techniques and moved them into the corporate space now, because people are readjusting to a new world. It's all the same sort of thing. And she never, you know, as soon as it happened, she's like, well, wait a minute, that's no different than leaving a corporate environment or being, you know, propelled out of a corporate environment than it is when you leave a very structured place and then you're out in the world by yourself. So I thought that was a pretty cool pivot that she did. I know it sounds weird, guys, but it really is sort of the same when she laid it out to me.
Nice.
Just as people who've been talking about personal trauma or family trauma, surviving that, now you say, well, okay, here's a trauma. How do you survive this? This is another trauma. So it all relates.
Mm-hmm.
It totally does. It totally all does relates there. Let me pull back up here. What else we got on here? So Alexis is actually from Naperville, not Hawaii, but part of the brand. My apology, Alexis, on that there for you. Let's see here. Who else has responded? We got that. We discussed that already. I'll kind of go back and address Michelle's question here. I just basically, look, I know things are going to slow down, so we've pivoted with a couple of things of like, okay, let's go and make sure we have some sort of regularity in our schedule and try to put something as a schedule on getting up still in the morning, not sleeping until 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, making sure the TV doesn't really turn on until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Working a normal schedule as best I can has helped me get through a lot of this and still try to keep a positive attitude. Knowing that, hey, everybody's in the same position that we are, you know, it doesn't do any good to sit here and cry in my beer. I've got to focus on actions and making sure things are rock and roll and still in place. Things have slowed down. I'm not going to say they haven't, but knowing, okay, what's plan B, what's plan C, and kind of putting those things in place. And I know that Elizabeth and Juliet both talked about the kind of doing those things as well too, out there earlier on too.
And this is a great time to get that to-do list done. I'm actually in the process of switching CRMs right now as well. And I'm doing something very different. I'm actually doing the work myself, because most of the time my VAs run my back end. And if I have to jump on and do something, I have no clue. So I'm actually learning the new system myself. And So in the future, I quite often will post, or I want to do something spur of the moment. I'll get an idea on the weekend. And in the past, I haven't been able to execute. So um, I'm using this as a growth period to see how difficult all this really is.
Yeah, I'm texting Rhonda here, just make sure she's still good to go here in a second. Just checking in.
Anybody else want to share some of the things that you're hoping to get out of this? I know we have a whole bunch of people that just jumped on too. Patrick Perret, maybe. I'll just put him on the spot. I don't know, Nathaniel, Mike. I probably shouldn't have said his last name, huh? Sorry, Patrick. Jim, any of you guys share some things that you want to get out of this or what's been going on for you?
Why don't we at least have them share where part of the country they're in? We know Alexis is from Naperville. Where are you guys at? Jim, I think, is from Utah. Laura's from here in Texas. Sarah's from here in Austin, Texas. So yeah, share us where you're from. Maybe that'd be the easiest thing to prime the pump for you guys.
Wait a minute, Jim's from Utah, so am I. I don't know him. Wimberley, where's Wimberley, Texas? Los Angeles?
Michigan.
Anybody else? Okay.
Okay.
Rhonda getting ready to, somebody have a question here? Oh, he's in a call. He's in Salt Lake City. Okay, you're my neighbor. I'm in Sandy. I've done all my marketing and training guides. Oh, so Mike
Yay.
is saying that he's done all his marketing and training guides in redone. That's good. See, that's the kind of thing we all need to be doing, is putting all that together and getting stuff redone. That's really great,
Exactly.
Mike. Mike, what do you do? You want to share that? And that Tim is sharing, he's from Kansas City. Patrick lives in Utah. Patrick and I are part of BMG together. So Patrick, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Oh, you're a real estate lender. Okay. That's really great, because you're about to get really busy, I suspect, with
Yes.
zero interest rates and the forbearances that are going on. Hopefully it'll all work out and we won't end up like in 2008 again with that. Let's see. Laura says she's hoping to get some tips and keeping the enthusiasm going on deals that are now moving at a snail's pace. Investors are getting nervous. Yes, that's completely understandable. So you must, I assume you're in real estate or notes or something like that. Is that right, Laura? Something that, yeah,
She's in
notes.
notes.
Yeah. So,
You know, one of the things that one of my colleagues said to me, calming me, talking me down off the ceiling, basically, is that don't take it personally when people slow down or pull back, because indeed this is affecting everybody. So keep the connections open and don't take it personally if they're not, if they say no or if they cancel. Just let people pause, because they may need to at this point.
yeah. Jim is sharing that he's looking for ways to keep building on the sense of community that he's already started. And yeah, Jim, that can be a little bit scary right now, just because Elizabeth and I talked about this earlier in the week. We're finding so many people are just in fear and they're not showing up. So that sense of community is a little bit difficult to get those people tapped back in and out of that fear. Nathaniel says he is a real estate investor with 14 units in your first year. Wow. That is really good. An avid follower of Meryl Chandler. Yes, aren't we all? I'm one of Meryl's clients and Meryl's one of my clients as well. Just looking to pick up some skills to develop your entrepreneurial mindset further. Well, you're in the right place with Meryl, because my gosh, that guy has more energy than anybody I have ever seen. Truly amazing. I will tell you, talk about an energetic guy. Sometime, I think it was on a Saturday or Sunday morning. I was kind of up at I get up really early. So, I'm up at like 5:15 working, and all of a sudden I get a text from Meryl and I'm like, dude, it's 5:30. Like most people wouldn't even be up, but he's up, he's working on his book. He's doing all sorts of stuff. So I don't think he ever sleeps. So it's a good person to follow.
Yeah.
Anybody else
want to put in I just
Good.
want to put in a note for the introverts like me to say, it is still possible to move forward, even if you aren't as energetic as Juliet and Meryl or Scott. So here being the resident introvert, really happy, just curled up on the sofa with a cat and a book. It is still possible to be in action.
It is. It is. I assume Scott's checking on Rhonda. Anybody else want to share? Well, Rhonda should have been starting here, but I don't know what's going on. Anybody else want to share? Nate, where are you at? Or do you go by Nate or Nathaniel? We'll just say Nathaniel. Where are you located? I want to know where he has those 14 units. Anybody else want to share too while we're waiting for this to
Linda
go
up
on?
there, where are you from? Mary Jo? Chris?
Any of you? Chris Watanabe. That name sounds familiar. Where are you from, Chris? We'll just pick on people now.
Yes.
Here they
So
thought they
I
were
don't
just.
know. I don't know if Rhonda's missed her appointment. I know that she got the emails and confirmed for that, and I've sent her a text message and just left her another voicemail resend it. So why don't we do this? I'll jump in and do my presentation, and we'll have a rebook for tomorrow. I'll wing it here with everybody, and we'll go from there. How's that sound? So
That sounds perfect.
all right, cool. Let
Sounds
me do
great.
this.
Okay, so while you're getting that up, I'm going to read. Let's see. Tim, he runs a KC Improv. Oh my gosh, really? A Kansas City improv company?
There's another theater person. Yay.
That's awesome. Nathaniel, Farmington Hills. Michelle Young, way to pivot. Yes, way to
Yes.
pivot, Scott. That was amazing. I feel like I skipped somebody there. Yay, theater people. There was somebody back up here that was telling us. Oh, Nate is from Farmington Hills, Michigan, and his units are in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So that's
Oh, I love
awesome.
Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
Pittsburgh.
Yep, awesome.
Are
So
you ready?
My presentation is not done because I was going to work on it today to finish it up, but that's okay. We can go with here. So I'm going to ask you ladies to stop your videos. So it's just a full screen on things because I want to go through a couple of things with everybody for full screen there for you, but feel free to jump in with questions or comments, everybody. So I'm a big believer that you've got to, pivoting shouldn't just happen once every 8 years or once every 5 years. I honestly believe that pivoting should happen really on an annual basis in some sort of fashion. For those that don't know me, my name is Scott Carson. I'm the CEO of WeCloseNotes.com. I'm also the host of the podcast for the Note Closer Show, which is a nationally syndicated podcast and radio show across the country. It's focused on the very small niche of distressed note investing. Now, what the heck is distressed note investing? Well, distressed mortgages, been doing this for over 15 years. No, we're going to get very busy here as the second half of the year rolls through. We figure out what's going on with forbearances and foreclosures and things like that. I've been an active real estate investor for 20 years. But as the market has changed over the last 15 years, we have changed. One of the big things in 2008, prior to 2008, I was not only a real estate investor, but a mortgage broker at the time. And then when everything hit the fan, I had to pivot into real estate investing is full time, pivoting out of my fix and flip business, my rehab business, into the distressed note space. That led to very good years of doing that and speaking and traveling. I had to pivot as things in the market changed, as more people came into that niche. And pivoted, made a major pivot 5 years ago from the speaking in person stage, going out and speaking in hotels or speaking once a week on the road. I mean, I was literally traveling about 40 weeks out on the road and had to pivot because my health was taking a second or really third seat to everything else I was doing. And so pivoting from doing hotel events, and if you've ever done a live train event, there's a lot of moving parts from booking people, hotels, F&B, food and beverages, to audiovisual, making sure your speakers show up on time, to dealing with overhead. And it can be very profitable. We had some very, very profitable weekends, six-figure weekends in profits with this, but it takes a lot out of you after time. So fortunately for us, when we look at this especially now as an act of God for the most part, is we were putting on an event in Houston that we planned, dropped a lot of money, over $25,000 in marketing and postcards and other things, and nobody signed up. It was a complete bomb out there. And I remember feeling how I've never been so stressed as I was that week. 3 weeks before the event, where I finally said, I mean, it was a week, actually it was the week, the full 3 weeks before the event, I was extremely stressed, but especially the week before we were going to go, when I pulled the plug and I called all the speakers and I said, listen, event is not going to work. We just have to have anybody sign up for it. I would rather you, instead of you flying out and talking to 5 people, let's reschedule, let's pivot, let's shake it up. And I'll bring you back on a conference call, a webinar that we do on a regular basis, and go that route. So, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but we did pull the plug on it, swallowed a nasty thing. And we were driving to Dallas. And I remember this very specific conversation. And Stephanie, who's our VP of operations, she's like, why don't you just turn it into an online summit? And I was like, oh, it's not going to work. The real estate space needs to be person to person, face to face. You miss that whole handshaking, networking aspect of things. And I said, well, she's like, give it a try. So we gave it a try, and it worked wonderfully. We've been doing, like I said, virtual events for years. We've been doing a lot of online stuff for the last 5 years. And so when everything happened, hit the fan, in the last few weeks, we had to adjust a few things. And I'll go through some of the things, but we have been pivoting every year in some sort of fashion. I think as entrepreneurs, if we stick and keep doing business the same through social media and marketing, we're going to find ourselves falling behind the pack, falling behind in the back of the pack versus the front of the pack. As entrepreneurs, we all want to lead the pack. So a couple things that I would recommend, and I don't think I'll get to all 10 of my list in this hour. I want to make sure and be respectful of our next speaker to come on here. But one of the big things that I'm a huge and very passionate about, and I'll talk a little about this too, is since I was not out speaking on the road, was more home doing online stuff. That's great. Online stuff is great. But you still have to drive in leads, still have to grow your audience. So a couple of things I want to go through with you guys this morning here is one thing that we have done is that, okay, where is our ideal audience? Okay. And that's the thing for you guys that are on here today or watching this live, watching this replay. I want you, if you've got a piece of paper, I want you to pull out that piece of paper or your notepad. Mine happened as the Walt Disney World on top of it, stolen from the hotel at Disney. There's a notepad in the room. I want you to make it, jot down and think of what your ideal client looks like and where they're at. Now, trust me on this. If you've done this before, this is something cool. I want you to think about, okay, if you don't know your audience, that you need to find out what your audience is. Think about your clients. If you already got existing clients, then look at the makeup of roughly your most successful clients, or the clients that you love to work with the most. Not the pita breads, the pain in the asses, not the ones that are the outliers, but the average, your median clients, where really 80% of your income, 80% of your interaction comes with your clients. What do those people look like? What is their age group? Picture them. What's a guy look like? What's a girl look like? Now, if you're just in the male society or male clients, great. If you're just in female clients, great. All right, my friend Cassandra McClure is in the health and beauty industry. 90% of her clients are female, right? Okay, so she pictures her ideal client being somewhere between 25 and 55, female. They're curious about health, long-term skincare. They're eating organically. They're making 35 to 75 grand or more a year, especially as they get older. Their income goes up. They may be married with kids. They need some simple things because they have a very hectic schedule of trying to take care of their skin, their beauty, and their health. And so she has identified that and goes to where that is. Her big thing is on Instagram. It's also big on Facebook. Also on Pinterest, works extremely well here. So think about where your ideal client is at. Think about what their age group is. Think about what their interests, what are they doing on the weekends? Okay, what are they doing for Easter? Religion. Hey, if you've got a client or you're in a business where religion can be helpful, you're catering to churches or catering to youth, what's going on in their lives? Now, one of the biggest things, places that I like to go is I will Google, hey, where does boom, boom, boom hang out? Where do CEOs hang out? And I think a lot of us are looking for a little higher level client for you. And it's not me talking, but the AMA, American Marketing Association, has shown that for those people that are looking for your higher tier clients, your entrepreneurs, your business owners, which I think a lot of us are looking for those. They're not hanging out on Facebook, and they may not be hanging out on Instagram. They're primarily hanging out in two places. One is LinkedIn, and then another spot is Twitter. I was surprised about the Tweety Bird aspect of things, okay? But they're still going there to get quick timing. They're there for news. They have money, they don't have time. And that's the thing that I want you to think about when you're making your list here and identifying for your avatar. What are their pain points? Do they not have time at the end of the day? Are they spending an hour commuting? Are they struggling to find deals? Are they worried about retirement, which I think a lot of people suddenly like, oh my gosh, I don't have even savings right now. When you look at the countries, one missed paycheck away from being in default. Or we used to be last year, it was 1 out of 10 Americans was already behind their mortgage. Now it's 1 out of every 8 Americans are behind on their mortgage. It's going to be worse than that. So finding out where your ideal client is going to be at and where they're hanging out, where are they putting their eyeballs? Where are they listening to? What are they watching? Where are they spending their 5, 10, 15 minutes each day that they've got the time to do that? And for us, it was LinkedIn. People are hanging out on LinkedIn. They're going there. It's a professional network. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. We do a little bit of advertising on Facebook, and that's great. But I think we can all agree, I think we've all fallen out of love with Facebook. When Facebook is changing the algorithms on a regular basis, I mean, doing this a couple of years ago where only a portion of your network is seeing your stuff. I mean, I've got 39,000 connections on Facebook through my business and my personal account, and only a fraction of those watch or see my stuff that I post there. But I see a much higher hit rate, much more involvement rate over on LinkedIn. So I wanted to go through a couple things. And I wanted to put this in here. For those of you that are watching this, I would love to know if you would put the chat roll for me. Type in what you do. What's your title? What's the title of the person you're looking for? So like for me, I'm looking for real estate investors. Jim Ross may say self-storage investing. Laura may say real estate investors. I don't know what some of the other things. So put your title or what you're looking for, the title of your person, title of your avatar in the chat roll, in the Q&A. And I want to use that stuff to kind of show you some ways to connect with those people, show you ways to find those great connections for you. Okay. Now I'm heavily in the real estate industry. I know there's some people on here in the real estate industry that are in our network that joined up because we sent emails out, which is great. I'm going to go through some of that stuff as well too for you. So we've got, okay, good. Love it that you guys are independent. Jim Ross says independent self-storage owners, very specific mom and pop owners. Okay, I love that. Laura says those interested in real estate investing. Okay. Mary Jo says I'm looking for single family buyers. You've got a lot of HR professionals. Okay, great stuff. Tim Mark says theater people. Yay. Okay, that's for the previous quote there, which is good. Okay, great. So let's do this. All right. Hi, Tina. Good morning. You're not on for a while, so I'm going to mute you and kick you off to an attendee. All right. Okay, she's off there. All right, good stuff. So here's what I like to do. I'm going to pull up and share my screen. Let me pull up. Should have it open. Boom, there we go. And I almost always have LinkedIn open on my screen. Okay, so yeah, here's LinkedIn. And I was actually playing around with this at night. So here's the thing. With everything going on and the craziness out there, we also need to be prospecting in a variety of ways, of reaching out to people, of identifying where people are hanging out. And like, I'll just show you here. Here's a great example right on the top of my friend, Jasmine Starr. She's a photographer and an Instagram influencer. She's also big on Instagram coaching. She teaches people how to do this, but she's out of San Diego, and she does a great job just posting on a regular basis. And that's the thing I think is one of the most underlying important things that we have to do on a regular basis, more so now than ever, is we can't stop reaching out. You need to really, instead of reducing the amount of times that you reach out to people, you need to increase the amount of times you reach out to people. Now, I'm not saying spamming them with an email every hour. We know we don't do that, but still touching base. Hey, we're still here. We've not gone anywhere. Now, I think everybody's sick and tired of all those emails or their ads on TV. Here's what we're doing. We're making sure and sanitizing my email that I send out to you, so it's a corona-free email. right? No, heck with that. We don't want that. I mean, we got enough of that, right? Everybody's down in the dumps about that. But sharing what you're doing, sharing your journey. Hey, what are you doing to stay fit? What are you doing to stay active? What are you doing to encourage or connect with people? People need to see that, because whether you like it or not, and in the words of Seth Godin, we've all got tribes. We've all got people that look up to us, and we need to lead our tribes. I don't care who you are or where you're at, whether you're in Naperville, Ohio, or West Palm Beach, Florida, Austin, Texas, Wimberley, Timbuktu, Detroit, wherever you're at. We all have local, and then these days, international tribes, not Indians, tribes that want to follow us in some sort of fashion. A lot of friends, families, colleagues, coworkers, stuff like that. So going back up in here, I'm a big fan of using LinkedIn to identify not only people that are in my ideal avatar, but clients or potential prospects for working with people, okay? And so here's the big thing I would recommend. Going over to LinkedIn and using this search bar is so good. So Jim said self-storage, mom and pop owner. So I would just type in self-storage and just type that in there, self-storage, see what pops up. And you'll see on here, now we got 350,000 people that say they're in self-storage. So we'll just type in self-storage owner. Let's do that. That'll narrow it down a little bit. So that drops us, well, that doubled the number. So you see Brian Himmons, owner at Store More Self-Storage. Bob Copper, owner Self-Storage 101. You can see the areas that are located. All right. Now, Jim, do you have a specific area of the country that you're working with a lot of people in? Ideally that you've already, because I think, Jim, you're in the self-storage management and you do a lot of that for your mom and pop owners, I believe so. Okay. But so going on here is a great way to at least connect with people. If you've already connected a lot of people, then I like to drop it down and drop it to the second degree connection on there. And then what I like to do, hey, just send a message out. Hey, just wanted to touch base. Let's say, I think he said a specific area for third party. Yes, Utah and surrounding states. Okay, so let's just type in Utah. Now it showed 400 plus results there for you. Perfect. Okay. Now you see Rocky Witten, business owner at Visit Self-Defense Glove. Okay, may not be it, but Stephen Ross, self-storage. Brick Hotch, real estate consultant sales, self-employed. So you can see some of the self pops in there. Self-employed, self-storage investments at Acadia Strategies, Greater Salt Lake area, Austin, Livingston. Okay. Sandy McCleve, currently self-storage broker, state of Utah. Steve Streeter, owner at Arson Custom Homes. Okay, well, maybe not so. But what I'm getting at here is, hey, yeah, you're going to have some stuff that falls in place there. It's done in it. But ideally, you're going to have a lot of people that you can reach out to. And then it's all about just sending a connect. And one of the most important things, besides just pulling this list here, we'll get to some more of you guys out there, is the simple connection strategy. Just touching base with people. But we're all limited by the amount of space or real estate that we can connect with people on a regular basis, right? It's like 300 or less characters that we can type in here. So one of the most important things that I think you have to do is craft your hello video. I don't want to say your pitch video. I call it a pitch video for a variety of things, but your hello email. And we'll go through a little bit of that facet, so it builds up a good hello video email on LinkedIn in just a second here. But I want to pull up some of the others that were kind enough to share out there, okay? So we're done with those. Let me go to the chat roll here real fast. So let's see here. Real estate, okay. Laura said real estate investing. Mary Jo Peterson says looking for single family buyers. I do residential rehab. Okay. Mary Jo, is there any, and Christine says HR professional. So let's do that. Let's type that in here. Let's start with the first because I think she was the first one. Let's say human resources. If you're looking for professionals, okay. Human resources. Let's not companies, not locations. Let's change this to people. Let's do this. Oh, it is people. Secondary connections. All right. And here you go. Heidi Villarreal is in Austin, Texas. Mary Hay is in Austin, Texas. Maxima L is in Austin, Texas. Okay. Christine says, I've increased my LinkedIn connections over 450 in 2 months. That's awesome, Christine. There are some cool tools that you can use to help automate kind of that aspect. One of the things I like to do is I use a service called Octopus CRM. If you've been on my webinars before, see that I do that on a regular basis. Like I already connected with 100 people this morning at 8 o'clock. I sent it out and it automatically sent out invites customized for them. If I got time, I'll get to that later on. But this is something you should be doing on a daily basis. In the beautiful thing, well, let me just show you here. It should already pull up here. It's already sent out some stuff. Like this here, already connected like here, Wes Robinson. So like I sent out this morning, one of the things that we do with the Note Closer Show podcast is it's a very niche podcast with what I do. It's very niche real estate investing. So what I do with my contact here is I'm reaching out to note investors, people that identify themselves as note investors and say, hey, Wes, and Octopus did this for me. I didn't have to do, I just had to set up basically the thing and automatically did. So, hi, Wes, I'm looking to connect with other investors during the craziness. I've been an investor for 15 plus years. I have a podcast, the Note Closer Show, that is focused on investing in notes. I'd love for you to check it out. And I put a link in there, which takes them straight to my homepage to watch it. Well, Wes is connected with it. Thank you for connected. Okay. Same thing. Jeannie did the same thing. She connected, accepted my connection. Stephanie Lang. Oh, look at this. She goes, hi, Scott. Thanks for inviting me to connect. I will check out your podcast. Hey, check it out. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to follow back up with them at the end of the day. Hey, just wanted to see, love to connect with you individually. Let's schedule a phone call. You know, I've done that with, if you are watching this, you're probably seeing my face here. You can see below here, my thing, talkwithscottcarson.com. I encourage you to use that if you want to book a 30-minute call with me to go through kind of the things that you're working through and how we can help you out with that. Feel free. Complimentary 30-minute phone call to go through that with you guys. So just want to put that out there in case you get it. But right now, look, Kaylee McMahon just responded, or she just accepted my connection. I send about 100 to 150 of these connections automatically per day. It takes, it's done for me. I've got 3 or 4 of these different lists that I do on a regular basis. Real estate investors, speaking of the devil. So like Laura says, real estate investors. We'll type that in there and see what pops up. 336,000 connections. Okay. Let's drop it down. Let's say, Laura, is there any particular state you're looking for investors in? I don't use Navigator. I use Octopus CRM, which is kind of a cool tool. So what, while Laura's answering that question, here's Octopus CRM. If I go to my dashboard, it tells me, you can see how many connections. I've grown my connections from roughly about 8,000 to over 21,000 this year alone, 13,000 new connections. Okay. I've got about 2,450 pending invites. Okay. I'm down a little bit from last week. I had 1,500 views the week before on my profile, and I've increased my weekly search appearance to just about 500 searches a week. People are finding my information. Okay. So, but the great thing is Octopus has this kind of customized connect thing. And so let's do this. Let's do this. Let me just do this for the heck of it. It's just fun. So let's type in, let's do this here. Let's type in human resources. I can resources. Type that in, human resources. I'm already connected with the first degree. I don't want to connect with those. I'm already connected. So second degree, it shows that there. I've already got Octopus on my screen. So all I do is go up here, hit the little O. This is like $20 a month. All right. And you see, okay, nope, I'm going to create a human resources. Create it. It's a new list. I want to pull over, I can pull to 1,000 profiles at a time into this list. So I type 1,000. It's going to pull my search results from that and hit send to CRM. So take a second to send it over there. But going while this is doing it, one of the most important facets that you have to do is that connectivity. So the things I think you all need to be doing on a day in, day out basis, okay? Daily, obviously connecting with people, whether it's your existing current database or prospecting. We all know you can't go to networking events these days unless they're online, which is so great, but you still miss the interaction. So I still like using this as a way to kind of identify the groups I need to talk to. And I use this for note investors, real estate investors, podcast guesting, I know Juliet is using this for helping her find authors and publishers and speakers for her quizzes. I think she's increased her, I think I saw in the chat roll, she's increased her LinkedIn connections dramatically. Let's see here. From 2,600 and booked 36 interview speaking gigs since mid-January. That's phenomenal. Woo! We got to give an applause for that. That's phenomenal. Great stuff, Juliet. I'm so proud of you. She uses Octopus. I introduced her to this. Okay. But the thing is, using this, and this can automatically do stuff. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is you don't want, like a lot of people, I think we've all been spammed on LinkedIn with those long chain emails like, oh, I'm the greatest person since sliced bread here. Let's buy right now. That's not the case. You never want to come across the board on your LinkedIn, on your profiles by just like, hey, buy my stuff now. Buy now, I'm awesome. Nobody wants that. Sleep with me now, let's have kids. No, okay, we don't want that. It's still a little romance. You got to have a little courting going on here. And I always like to say, hey, here's the courting that goes on. Okay, let's reach it out. Hey guys, I'm another investor. I'm just looking to connect with you. I've got a podcast. Maybe you want to listen to it. Great, and then follow back up. I know what Julie does. I pull up. Well, this is working here. It's pulling up over here. Just give it a second. I got a lot open on my page. I probably should close some of this stuff down. Probably work a little bit better. So, but going to back to the point here is using this Connect on a daily basis and making it easy to the connect. Yeah, I have no problem sending an email out to my database or connecting with people 100 times as long as it sounds like I'm being. I just want to connect. Hey, let's connect. Let's talk. We're both real estate investors. Hey, we're both in the HR side of things. Okay. So once Octopus, I think just Octopus has cleared it up. All right. So let's go on here. Now it looks like it's done here. Okay. So let's go. So it's popped it over here. Not yet. So let me close that down. Let me pull it back up in just a second here. That's transferring them over there. Okay, so it's still in the process of doing that. But what I'm trying to get is everybody is having your kind of a three-step approach to things. One, I think LinkedIn is one of the most important places that you can be at because it is a hot thing. Two, you still got to get an email out to your database in a variety of ways. And one of the things that you have to do, LinkedIn doesn't allow this. You got to find some way to transfer people from LinkedIn into something that's going to connect with them. Now, Juliet is going to share something later today or tomorrow on the quizzes that she does. Is a great way to do stuff. I like using, hey, Talk with Scott Carson. They go to Talk with Scott Carson. You know what's going to happen there? I'm going to then capture their email. I'm then going to capture a little bit of information about them, their name, their email, their phone number. And then I can export my Calendly link into my database. But those are really good clients for the most part, especially taking the time for the most part. Occasionally you get some dead wood, people that will love to talk your head off that aren't there. That's why we limit the calls to 15 or 30 minutes for that with Calendly or whatever your Meet Me aspect of things. But using LinkedIn is one of the best ways to connect with the ideal clients. And what's more importantly, the ideal professional clients that you're looking for. I may be running too much stuff at the same time here. Let me close some of this stuff down. Well, I bet that's probably what the big thing is here. But what I love more so than anything else about this is just being able to connect with people on a regular basis. We're all busy. If I can talk to 100, if I can connect with 50 people on a day in, day out basis, that's great. That's one of the most beautiful things that you can do. So Juliet says on here, I spoke with someone who needed podcast guests and I introduced them to 3 of my clients who fit her needs. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing on here is that if you're putting people together, human resource professionals here, while this thing is updating here, you can reach out to your database. Hey, if you've grown it by human resources, hey, I got somebody who needs some help in human resources in New York City or Austin or Dallas or Salt Lake, whatever. Okay. There's a variety of things that you can use with this to really help you home it in here. And I don't know why it's giving me issues this morning here. It might be just that you got too much going on. Come on, baby. I'm going to stop that and restart it there really fast. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is it's important to be connecting on it. And if you don't want to spend the $9 or the $19 for Octopus CRM, that's totally fine. Let's try this one more time. Okay, so now it's done that there. It's perfect there. Now it's done it here. Oops, hang on a second. Hey, Michelle, when you come on, make sure you mute your microphone so I don't hear you chewing on your breakfast. Anyway,
even if it's delicious.
Even if it's delicious, yes, ma'am. Please mute yourself. All righty. Good stuff. I love it, Michelle. All right. So going back here now, I think we got it working here. So let's click back on here again. All right. Now that we've transferred over, I just go down here to click the CRM. It's a 0 out of 100 profiles you, Chris, have been transferred to the campaign. Okay. So let's go up here to human resources, and you see 100 people on the right-hand side here have been added. So we can go over here. Let's say I only want to connect with one. Okay. I'll just say hello, and then I'll put in first name, and it'll pull the first name. I'm looking for an experienced HR professional to help with my small business, and would love to talk with you if this falls in line, whatever it might be. Okay, and then I would just hit boom, launch, and it would start launching everything else. So we're not going to do the launch here on human resources. We'll do it another one. So let's go to, like, I can set up another thing. So like, I'm a real estate podcast. I'm looking to get booked on a real estate podcast. So you can see it just transferred over here. Now I've got 51 connections still left to connect out of 1,000. And you can see on here, hi, first name, I wanted to reach out to other podcast hosts to expand my podcasting network in 2020. This is an older one. I've also got an online podcasting summit. You can see I've used this in the past before. Let's change that up. Let's go to Real Estate Podcast 2020. Podcast host real estate. There we go. 519. Fellow podcast, want to see if you might be interested in me on as a guest to discuss what we will see with this chaos. And I put a video in here. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's customized to go out, and I can hit, okay, let's launch this to about 50 people. I already did 100 this morning. So I hit launch. Octopus is going to do all this work for me to connecting and automatically sending this out. See, last time I sent this out was 4 weeks ago, right before everything crazy happened. Now I stopped it because I wanted to see where everything was going with the market. So it's working for me here going out there. But the great thing I want you to see is this video is short. I don't want to put an hour-long webinar because nobody's going to watch that immediately. I want to put something that's going to have impact, show a little about my personality that I can send out to my ideal clients, my ideal avatars, people I'm looking for. Okay, so you see, it's automatically sent one out to Tom Zappia 19 seconds ago. It's in the process in the second one. All right, boom, just like that. It's sending out to Dan Hurt a second ago. Automatically sending these invites out. But the beautiful thing is here, let me just stop this here, is the video they're getting is just a short little video I put together privately using Zoom. I've also used my smartphone to film a short little hello video. Okay. Short little video that just is out to say, hey, we can't really go into 300 people individually. You could, but I want to make sure and share what is going on. So this is, I wouldn't do your videos longer than 2 minutes.
And I'm going to cross the country as the Nook guy. My specialty is I'm a very active real estate investor and the CEO of WeCloseNuts.com. We are a Austin-based.
So I go through, hey, what can I add value to their audience? And I have 2 or 3 of these different videos that I use depending on the time of year. I need to go back in and change a different video that I use. But the thing is, whatever your thing is, hey, I'm looking for residential. I'm looking for single family home buyers. I'm a fix and flipper looking for people to buy my properties in Columbus, Ohio. I'm an HR professional in Texas looking to connect with other HR professionals. Whatever it might be, minute to 2 minute video. Doesn't have to be horribly long. You don't have to have a Grammy. Heck, a selfie works really well as well too. But you can take that link, upload it to Vimeo, something like this, or YouTube, and then put that link in your chat roll or your Octopus CRM that goes out there, or just in the Sales Navigator if you want to. Very simple to automate this service so you're getting stuff done. And those that are connecting, I go back at the end of the day and connect with. Start in the morning, go back in the afternoon, go back in the evening and connect with those. Hey, it was great connecting with you. Hey, it's great connecting with you. A lot of times, first thing in the morning, before I get started, okay, who connected? Oh, LinkedIn, I have 5 connections. Hey, great, awesome, good connect. Hey, great connect. Something you can do very easily throughout the day to make things work for you, okay? So Mary Jo Peterson says, where would you search to find single family buyers? So are you looking for retail buyers, Mary Jo, or are you looking for investors to buy investment properties? Retail buyers. Okay. I would be doing with that aspect of Mary Jo. Where are you located? What's your target market? You're in LA. Oh my gosh. And is there a price point that you kind of fall into with single family buyers? Woohoo, exactly. 1.5 million or higher. Okay. Now, are these listings that you have already? They're your listings and you're looking for buyers to come to the table? Okay. So what I might do, and you probably don't mind if other agents have buyers looking for deals, you're the rehabber. Okay. Oh, so you want to get the word out to realtors and people like that may have people that are looking for buyers because it's a competitive market. Okay, now I get you here. So what I would do, I would go, let's go back to LinkedIn. Let's do this. So let's go back to realtor and we'll say Los Angeles. Okay, let's see what pops up with that. Gina De La Rosa, all Southern California, Downing, Southgate, Linwood, Lakewood, Huntington. Okay, realtor, LA realtor. Lean fan, Orange County and LA County real estate consultant, real estate investor. Okay, so that's what I would do. I would go on here and I would literally just do what I did with Octopus CRM, reach out to 100 people, say, hey, I've got this beautiful listing. And maybe you go on and create a short little video. You could do a PowerPoint presentation on before or after, or I want maybe to do the before side, but hey, your virtual walkthrough, make it like a minute long, 2 minutes long, something simple that you can put together, get the word out to other people on this. But these people that are obviously on LinkedIn are probably a little bit more professional. Not everybody's on LinkedIn all the time. Go from there. That's the thing to look at is just doing this on a regular basis, building your database. Send them to something that they can opt in, whether it's, hey, text notes to 72,000 or text quiz like Julia used. I say, hey, let's book an appointment, book a schedule. Does that make sense for you? You could totally do this in conjunction with them. You're not affecting them. Have your realtor put together a flyer, or maybe they have a virtual website. Hey, I got a great, and you can say, hey, I don't know if you've got a buyer looking for, I got a beautiful 1.5 million, 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath house in, located at 101 Lakeside Drive. Here's a link to the listing. Okay. And, easy enough to do. Boom, 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 getting the word out. And you could do this in any state, any city that's available. We've done this too by looking for real estate investors. For Laura, looking for real estate investors. If you've got, like I know Laura is working on a large portfolio, I believe, so like 300 properties. Okay. 300 properties is a big portfolio, but I guarantee based on the list that she has of the assets, it breaks down into a couple states, probably Ohio being a big thing. So Laura Blunt could go on here and do the same thing. Hey, 7 states, even better. Okay. How many big geographic markets that are available out there? Okay. All right, I'm about to mute everybody. Okay, let's pull this up here. Excuse me 1 second, everybody. I'm going to mute some people here. All right, good stuff. So using this, picking the 7 states, Laura, what's 1 or 2 of the states, or it's one of the 2 bigger markets that you've got in those 200 or 300 properties that you're trying to move. And some of these you're wanting to keep for yourself. I get that. But you're also in the process of selling like 30, 40. Cincinnati. Oh, even better. Okay. So let's do this. So let's do real estate investor and type in Cincinnati. Now with this, there you go. 500 plus results. They're second degree connections to me. Okay. And you can see real estate investor at Greater Cincinnati, real estate investor at BG Homes. And so I would just go on here and basically kind of thing you're saying, connect, add a note, always want to add a note. Hey, Tim, I'm a fellow real estate investor with some performing notes in the Cincy area. I don't know if you might be interested. You or someone you know portfolio. Yeah, more. That way we say that in real estate. And then put a link in there. Hey, connect with me. Let's talk. And maybe you put your calendar link, or you make it an easy link, a pretty link. I went out and bought the domain Talk with Scott Carson because it was a whole lot easier to remember talkwithscottcarson.com than it was bit.ly/calendly/ whatever. Okay. So let's talk. But you see, I've only used 107 characters. Now, what could also be really nice, Laura, if you've got pictures of those 7 properties, maybe you could throw them into an Animoto slide, or maybe you put them on a Facebook ad or Facebook post and you share the link to that Facebook post in here. Something like that. Because if you add video or add an image or something, it's going to increase your engagement versus just putting a post. And that's the same thing on Facebook, same thing on Twitter. Anytime you can put a picture or a video, it's going to increase your engagement quite a bit there. So that's what I would do. Boom, I got that. And I would do that. That's what I would put in my Octopus CRM to make that work for you. Okay. Let's see chat roll here. Love Animoto. Yeah, Animoto is a great little thing that you can put together. It's pretty inexpensive. So you make a 30-second transition video with a few photos, and it's all included for free with Animoto. Anything over 30 minutes or 30 seconds, I'm sorry. Anything over 30 seconds will cost you, and then you can brand it as well for you. So what were some of the other things? I'm going back here through the chat roll. Anybody have missed out on some of their questions or where they're at? All right, so then we could take our Mary Jo, which is great. Juliet, thank you for sharing. Tina, okay, Juliet. Christine Glass, awesome. So Mike Brady, you're looking for real estate investors that borrow for deals and refinance. Okay. Are you looking for people that are using other people's money, like private money, or are you using traditional financing? Are you like a traditional mortgage broker that you've got some cash out deals? Maybe it's a 2 or 3K loan or something like that. Is Mike still on here? So you do the same thing. If you're looking to boost, like if I was, oh, here we go. I think you commented now. Non-bank refinance and hard money style loans. Okay, hard money style loans. Is there a specific area you're looking for? Is there a specific state or specific market? Like I have some buddies that run hard money companies, and they do stuff like primarily Austin, primarily Dallas, Texas, the major markets in Texas, or they do it in a variety of different states. I'm in Nashville. You're looking for Nashville, Tennessee. Is that correct? Okay, so let's pick an area. Okay, so pick the major areas. You can't do the whole southeast in a post, but you can pick the major cities. Let's say Nashville. Thank you. Let's kiss. Keep it simple, silly. Same thing here. Real estate investor, Nashville. Okay. 600 plus results on LinkedIn here. Now it's secondary connections. You're probably more than that. Let's just look at take out the connections out of it and see what applies. 2,000 plus results. Okay. Some you can see invite sent to, some others not invite sent. Same thing. Real estate investor at real estate greater Nashville area. So same thing. I just wanted to touch base with fellow local. I'm in Nashville. Don't know if what you're using to finance your projects. We are still providing funding and competitive rates. Would love the chat to talk about what kind of projects you're looking for funding on. Something simple. Another thing that would work well, I think, for a lot of people out there too, is going and leveraging meetup groups. And I've got about 10 minutes left before we take our first break and our next speaker comes on. I think Tina's comes on next. But anyway, meetup groups, yes, meetup groups. Some of you guys have heard me talk about this before that are from my network. Those that aren't, there's meetup groups for everything out there. So let's just type in human resources, see if there's a group for human resource professionals in Austin, Texas. There ain't no groups matching that. All right, fine. Let's take it out and say within any distance. All right, maybe not. Who else to type? So let's type in self-storage. That's probably going to fall under the real estate side, but we'll just type in self-storage. That'd be more your real estate stuff. And let's look at groups. Oh, you know what? I may have done. Let's try something else here. Let's just go back to this. Human resources. There you go. Australia, Sydney. Minneapolis Human Resources HR Network. Okay, 36 members. All right, Cincinnati Black Human Resources Club. Human Resources Professional. Here we go. Look at these big ones here. A couple of these big ones here. Human Resources Technology and Drinks. Oh, I love that one. Let's click on that one. All right. So Human Resources, a lot of these groups will have a message board that you can post to, something interesting, like a conversation, like discussion board where you post something. But some of them also, if you go to the different groups, hit more, will have a mailing list. Ooh, I get excited about the mailing list. Okay. So first, what you've got to do, this is out of New York. You got to join the group. Oh, I'm a member now. Okay. So if I click on more over here, let's click on the mailing list. Nobody has sent a message yet. Okay, they're not publicizing the mailing list. Now, some groups will give you the actual email list of the whole group as part of the thing, and you can send a mail out to them. And this is, I would not solicit them something, hey, I got a deal, or hey, I'm got something special going on. I mean, you can go the same thing to the discussion board in a lot of these groups too, and post a discussion. See, like Sudhit Patel, he put something on the New Times article, Tech Hub. You can post a lot of the stuff on there and still be able to have it go out to the 823 members. There are some big groups out there that you can use Meetup to connect with. So using this, if you're in an area that's remote or you're having a difficulty, at least jumping on Meetup and seeing what's available, connecting with people. Hosting your own Meetup virtually is a given, okay? Tracy, there are no Meetups at all right now. No, I don't agree with that, Tracy Hazard. There are a lot of Meetup groups that have suspended or have transitioned to that one time a month doing something virtual. And here's the big opportunity, okay? If you see a Meetup group that isn't your ideal thing and they're not doing something virtual, that is your opportunity to come in and do a Zoom call, to do a Meetup group online like we're doing today. That's a huge opportunity to reach out there, no matter what your niche is, and just bring people together. Hey, how are you working with it? Like, you're just doing that. What are you doing? How are you overcoming that? Okay. Let me go back here. Who was that? Give me 1 second. Sorry. It's like, no, it's Mary Jo. Whoever was the HR professional going through, hey, I'd love to connect with our HR professionals in this time that we can't meet in person. Let's at least jump online. Let's talk. Let's have a HR happy hour. Okay. So it's an opportunity. Yeah, there's not people meeting in person, but they still have the groups. They've already done that heavy lifting for you by putting a group together. Put on the discussion board. Hey, let's do a virtual meetup. I'm new to the group. We'll still love to connect online. Okay. That's a huge opportunity, because what we have found more than anything else is that people who stop doing their stuff, those groups, those events, those are the ones that are going to be the ones that suffer the most. You know, statistics say what they think, that 35 or 40% of events won't recover, won't come back, because they just stop. Now, look at like South by Southwest, huge event here in Austin, Texas, just stopped. Okay. $1.6 billion impact on the economy here in Austin, Texas. Yes, it's a huge thing, maybe just Austin, Texas, but worldwide. I mean, there's 210 vendors now that pay 10, 15, 20 grand to have a booth that aren't getting any business out of it. Okay. Could you not reach out to them and say, hey, I think you might be an ideal fit for my group, or reaching out into the local artists and bringing people together in a meetup group in your area? That's what I'm trying to get at, everybody. The more important is the way that you can connect with people. And it may not be something ideal. You may do it once and you may get 4 people on there, but you know what? Those 4 people, even if you get just one person to reach out to you, we're all just one relationship away from something major happening. Okay. One connection way that can refer you to a new client, or refer you to a new resource, or refer you to your ideal client out there. And that's the most important thing, is the networking still needs to continue. And if that's what you want, and we've got time, we probably have another 30 days here. So going back here and kind of doing a quick little recap before I take a few Q&A from the audience here, before we wrap it up and stay on time, on task here for you, is best thing you can do is jump on and increase your connections. You don't have to use Octopus CRM. Jump on there. You can just individually do them one at a time. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste for the most part. But reaching out on a regular basis to LinkedIn. 2, if you've got an email database, send an email out to your database and just say, hey, here's what we're doing, a day in the life. One of the most effective things that launched me in a rough time back in 2009, 2010, is I made a challenge to myself. It was after out of the mortgage company, was in the real estate investment facility, and it was a rough time there. I had some rough things going on in 2009, 2010, but I was like, I need to do something. I want to challenge. What would help me get out of a bad hole? Making 100 grand in 100 days. What the hell? Why not? Let's set some big goals. So one of the things that I did is I set a challenge, and then every day I shared via Facebook and LinkedIn, via blog or a little short video of what I was doing. At the end, at 56 days, I was so overwhelmed with people responding, sending me deal flow, sending me funding, that I couldn't continue the blog. I was so overwhelmed that I finally did a wrap up at 100 days. Say, hey, here's where I've been the last 44 days. Just thank you so much. We all need to connect with our audience. And that means video, touching base. Where we don't have that on a regular basis, touching base. And don't say, hey, let me offer up another virtual summit for you, or here's why you need to be virtual, here's the online. No, hey, let's just talk. How are you doing? What's going on? Here's what we're doing. Here's what we did today. Okay. How can I help? Business still needs to go on. I think that's the biggest thing, is business still needs to go on. We just can't do it in person anymore. Yes, things have slowed down, but right now, if you invest in your infrastructure, LinkedIn, email, video, those are the 3 biggest things that are going to help you pivot more than anything else. And you know what? Don't try to be Hollywood. Don't try to be freaking Cinemax on your phone. I was going to say Skinemax. That's a whole different thing we could go, but don't try to be perfect. Just be yourself. Just hit the record button and send the damn email. All right. Send the post. Just connect with people. That's the best way to pivot, is build your network. Go out there and talk with people. Hey, what do you need help with? I might know somebody. Like in the last couple of days, I've connected probably a dozen people that I've either met either online through different groups, through different meetup groups, or different LinkedIn connections, by just simply doing the simple things. And you know what happens? Hey, they're reciprocating. Hey, a buddy of mine that just met you just told me to talk to you. Great, let's talk. So I want to open it for a couple of questions as we kind of come to a little break here before we bring on our next speaker. I know we got a little bit of a couple minute break between myself. I think Tina's the next one. It's on there. Tina, thank you for being on time. I appreciate it. What questions do you guys that are having or join us on here? Once again, recapping, diving into your LinkedIn presentation. And what I'll do as well to everybody, if you guys don't mind, I have about a PowerPoint halfway put together as a finish today, but you got to pivot. You got to be ready to pivot. I'll send out a link. I'll record it and send a link out to everybody that you're interested for it. If you'd like to schedule a 30-minute conversation with me one-on-one, talking about, hey, ways to help you guys, maybe brainstorming on some things. I know that Jim Ross was on here earlier. Laura Blanc knows that I've done that. Who else is on here that I've talked with on a regular basis? Let's see here. Just glad to spend 30 minutes with you, helping you pivot, helping you talk through what you're going through, ways that we can help. Talkwithscottcarson.com is the link. Let me put it in the chat roll to make it easy. Yes, you can ask me. You can ask about my business other than real estate. Of course, Liv, ask away. Okay. Yes, Mary Jo asked the question, did I literally tell people your challenge 100K in 100 days? Yeah, that was a whole blog. 100K in 100 days. I think it's still on, it still may be on Hub Pages. Let's see if it's still up there, if it's still searchable. Maybe not, maybe may have not gone down anymore. I don't even know if the Hub Pages are around anymore. But yeah, so what's the question? Ask away. Oh, you're talking about booking with me? Yeah, of course. It doesn't have to be real estate. We do a lot of things. We do a lot with our marketing side. I think one of the great things that we do with our business is that we do a tremendous job on the marketing side and owning our niche. You know, we have started doing 1 day, 8 hour kind of trainings once a month with our audience out there. Hey, and reduce the price down from $100 down to like $20, just getting people in and then converting them by, you know, feeding them content for an hour, you know, for 8 hours. Say, listen, hey, if we do this in 8 hours, imagine what we can do in 3 days with you. Okay. And that's the whole point of bringing people in, offering, just giving them content, giving them something of value. Don't go, hey, join my link, buy. No, because then they will say, bye. All right. The whole point is getting people in, having conversations, getting them into your pipeline, seeing what you're doing, and then realizing that you're adding value out there. Thanks, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. Yeah, we do a real good job with our niche. Okay. So glad to do it. I think it's 30 minutes. Starts off next week for you guys. If it's full for that day, just move on to the next one, and we're glad to jump on there as well. So any questions, comments, concerns? I know I'm excited for the next round of speakers. Thanks, Juliet. I appreciate it. But pivot, guys. Don't be afraid to. The only thing you hurt by not trying something is yourself. That's the only thing you're going to guarantee is failure. Yeah, you're going to fail. And that's the thing. Don't be afraid to fail forward in this time. Don't be afraid to screw shit up. Okay. It's okay to screw stuff up. You learn them more from your mistakes. I screw stuff all the time. I have things that I do stuff that screw up all the time. Hey, okay, screwed up. Let's get it fixed. And move on. You're going to learn more from that more than anything else. Good to see some people on here, our neck of the woods out there for you guys. But once again, thank you so much for coming on and joining us here today in the Peace and Pivot Summit. Book a call, talkwithscottcarson.com, and see if we can help you pivot there. So, hey, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Scott. That was amazing. Thank you so much. And anybody who's listening, you should absolutely, if you can get half an hour with Scott, do it. And you might get a fire hose worth of information, but then it's all stuff that you can follow up on. So
Promise the 30 minutes a little bit more organized.
yeah, right. Well, thank you, Scott, so much for jumping in and being part of this. We're going to take a 10-minute break now, and then we
actually
have
7-minute break. We want to stay on time, so let's do a 7-minute break. All right.
All right,
so
Tina Greenbaum. And while you're gone, you can take her quiz. Scott's going to.
Let's do that. Yes, let's post it. Let's hang on a second here. What do you want thing here? Okay. So Tina, if you want to bring on your camera there, Tina's got a quiz. Let's put that in the chat roll. Love for people to fill that out and respond with that. Hang on. I think you want to put that in the chat roll? Do you have that, Elizabeth?
Okay. Mastery under
Always one of the things. Let's always put
just-
HTTP, so it's a clickable link. HTTP / I get it here. Mastery under pressure.net. Did I type that in right? Mastery. Where's that clickable link? All right, cool. So we'll take a 5-6 minute break and come on back here, guys. See you in just a few minutes.
All right.
hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good. Give me 1 second here. Let's see if that works. All right. All right, let's bring you on here.
Start my video.
Yeah, go ahead and start your video. There you go. There you go, Tina.
Okay. There we go.
And we got everybody.
Morning.
Yeah, everybody will be back in just a couple more. Just taking a quick little break in between. Let them get up a cup of coffee. You have a PowerPoint slide you want to bring up?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
So
let me stop my screen.
Share my screen.
You have your PowerPoint up first?
Yep.
Okay, yep, share your screen.
There we go. And let me put it on play. There we go.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, so we just got a couple minutes till everybody comes back on before you. Where's home for you, Tina?
Cool.
Where's home for you?
I am just outside of San Francisco right now. It's sort
Nice.
of, I've been here for the last 6 years, but home is very much the East Coast.
Well, where out in the East Coast?
So-
Where do you live the East Coast?
When I grew up in Philly, lived in DC, New Hampshire, and New York for a long time. So
Nice. That makes you a Dallas Cowboys fan?
not really.
I
Go anywhere from the Eagles to the Giants to the Patriots to now the 49ers. So
Boo.
But-
No.
I love basketball.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Golden State's done a great job. They got a bum deal in the finals, but they'll be back. They'll be back.
Oh, I know, they're awesome. We love them.
I am a
Love
big
it.
fan of the Giants out there, though. That's heaven there at well, it's not AT&T. It's what is it now? It's a different park.
I don't even know, to tell you the truth.
It's okay.
So I'm also gonna, for other people that might come on, I'm gonna take a little time during this thing to give people time to do the quiz if they haven't done it. So
That's fine. We've got that in the chat roll they can copy. So if you guys that are on there right now, for those of you that are watching this, just kind of chilling out, you can go ahead and take that quiz. Masteryunderpressure.net is the website to go click on that, take the quiz, answer the questions. If you're watching the replays later on, this guy's not live here with us, do the same thing. Also, if you're watching this live on the Facebook Live, which we know we got people joining us from there, jump on there, masteryunderpressure.net. How long does it take for them to fill that out, Tina?
no more 4 minutes at the
Okay.
most.
Perfect. They do it now. They'll be ready back in time for you.
All right, that's
All right.
right.
Cool. So I'm going to jump off here and I'll come right back on when we hit the record button again. All right, Elizabeth?
Okay,
You got
Right,
it.
Tina?
Great. Okay.
Elizabeth, I'll be there in 1 sec.
Okay, sounds good. I'll
Give me
be
just
here
1
to see
second.
Who's with us and so we've got all sorts of great stuff today. I'm so happy to have Tina with us. Here we go.
Okay, Elizabeth, I'm here.
Okay, we're going to wait for Scott to, I want to make sure that we are recording and then that we stop the recording and start a new one. So I'm going to.
All right. Give me 1 second here. 3, 2. Well, hang on here. Yeah.
Okay.
You're rocking.
Okay. Hey, everybody, and welcome Tina Greenbaum to the Peace and Pivot Summit. I'm so excited. When we first started talking about this, we said, who else should we have? And Julian and I both said, Tina, we've got to get Tina. So just read you her official bio, and then I'll turn it over to you, my dear. So Tina Greenbaum works with executives who want to increase their performance level in high stakes, high pressure situations. An optimal performance specialist and sports psychology consultant, Tina's signature program, Mastery Under Pressure, empowers leaders and their teams using cutting-edge technology, neuroscience, energy psychology, sports psychology, and current learning theory. In addition to her Mastery Under Pressure team program, she also works with CEOs and senior level management as a confidential Sarah coach on a one-to-one basis. Her expertise in guiding executives through their psychological and personal issues helps her clients cope with the demands that their personal struggles place on them as they strive to be atop their sector. As she likes to say, the only thing standing between you and your goals is you. So Tina Greenbaum, take it away.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Scott and Juliet, for putting on this amazing, amazing summit. So I entitled this A Normal Response to an Abnormal Situation. And so everything that you heard about my bio and helping people to peak performance, levels of peak performance, and being able to take where they are and expand to the next level, there isn't a person in this universe that is not being affected by this crisis, this current crisis. So all our responses, the ways that we're, kind of the emotions that are moving from one place to the next, is a normal response to a very, very abnormal situation. So let me tell you a little bit just about me. You heard Elizabeth introduce me. I'm a workshop leader and author of a book called Mastery Under Pressure, an optimal performance coach. And as you heard, I really love the combination of neuroscience and body awareness and performance. And it seems I've been on this path for, more than 37 years. And I had to kind of use my nose to find my way. And so now the neuroscience is proving what a lot of the ancients have known for centuries and centuries. So again, I work with business leaders, actors, dancers, performers. I've lived in Washington, D.C., New York City, and now here in the Bay Area. So a combination of amazing people who really have taught me a lot, but also wanting to be able to perform at very, very high levels. So let me tell you a little bit about just some of the emotions that I personally have been going through, and just see if you can relate to some of these. So loss and grief. I had a wedding party planned for my son on March 21st. Luckily, they were already married, but I had family that was coming from all over the country. And I had to, when they said the word pandemic, I had to give it up. And so with that came a series of feelings of loss and grief. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. So that was a personal piece that happened for me, but also professionally. Many of you I just was on another call this morning of consultants, very, very high level consultants, talking about where the next dime is going to come from, and jobs that have just been stopped right, in the moment. So a lot of fear of the future, anxiety, sadness. It's a sad time. There's, we're just talking about people losing jobs and income, but we know that there have been thousands and thousands of people that have lost loved ones. And with that come, again, for me, some glimpses of depression. I've been very busy over these last couple of weeks because this is what I do. And this is a time where I feel like I can give the most of who I am. But there are people who are seriously suffering from depression. And with depression comes hopelessness and helplessness. And I've also been feeling another ranges of feelings, very open-hearted and very focused on what I'm doing. So I'm wondering, I can see the chat. I have another computer. I can see the chat room. If any of you would love to share, I always really like to do interactive workshops. And I want, Scott's was very interactive and there was really, really great stuff. So I'm hoping that you will chime in because there's a lot to share and a lot that we can share and learn from each other. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see some of the things that are on the chat. So again, I would love you to share a little bit about what's been going on for you so that I can help you and communicate with you. And so what we're going to cover here. We're going to talk about the process of grief and loss, because it is definitely a process that people go through. And the psyche is extremely wise, and we're going to learn a little bit more from that. Just so that you all know too, my background is I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a psychotherapist. So I'm that TheraCoach. We go to therapy when we need to, and also coaching, which I think is a lot of behavioral things and helping you move along. So I'm going to combine a lot of my experience and my knowledge. For those of you that haven't taken the quiz, I'm going to ask you to take the quiz. And we're going to talk also a good bit about the stress response and what that actually consists of. I want to teach you hopefully things maybe that you already know, but also how to get beyond some of the stress that you might be feeling. And so give you some tips from my mastery under pressure. And I'm going to ask if you're in here, and if anybody could just kind of jump on the chat and let me know that you hear me, that you see me, and that that you're with me. That would be really, really, really helpful. Okay. So I've got some three. Okay, so hello from Christine Glass and Patricia Daniels and Nathaniel. Thank you all for checking in. It makes me feel better that I'm not just talking into a machine. So, okay, so here we go. So let's look at this process of grief and loss. And again, please chime in at any time and let me know if you can relate to what I'm saying, if these are things that you're experiencing or have experienced, and any questions that you might have, because I'm here to help. Actually, it's not just a one-way talk. So this is a slide from a video that follows the grief process that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who was a champion in the thoughts of grief and loss, and she identified these different stages. Now it looks like in this arrow that it goes from one to the other to the other, and the truth is that's not really true. We go through different stages at different times, and in the grief process, you could feel any one of these things at any one time. So I'm going to use the example, just the example again, from my personal. So again, this is personal and professional, but from this example of having to give up my the wedding party that I had worked so hard and so long on and was so excited about, my family coming from Hawaii all the way from New York. So in the beginning, there was a lot of denial. Like, this isn't really going to affect it. We're going to do this. This is going to happen. And again, for those of you that have planned events and workshops and how long it took you to get to the place where you said, oh, it's not going to happen. Well, I kept bargaining and trying and denying, and until my son said to me, Mom, you know, this coronavirus it's a real thing. And that was the first sort of inkling that it might affect my event. So there was a lot of denial in the beginning. And then I was also planning a workshop at the same time on March 6th. And the day before the workshop, it was at the Twitter building here in San Francisco. And the day before the workshop, we found out that Twitter had advised all of their people to stay home. So again, there was a lot of denial and juggling and how we're going to do this. And frankly, a bit of anger, a little pissed off that I had worked so hard and all these things had been planned for such a long time. And how dare, you know, I'm gonna have to give it up. Now, again, I'm just talking about personal and professional things that are happening. There are people, again, who have lost loved ones in this coronavirus, here today and gone tomorrow. So you can just imagine the magnification of the feelings that we're talking about. And from my own personal experience, I had lost my parents in a car accident. So here today, gone tomorrow. So these things can come in many different flavors and intensity. And so from depression, we start to bargain. Well, if I had done this, and if I had done that, and if I had known this, and maybe it could have happened differently. And we try to make sense. I have a young client who lost a husband not so long ago, and from a heart attack, and just the bargaining, and God, if I had only done this, and if I had only done that. And at some point, we come to this place of acceptance. And this is in the process of grief and loss. We hope to come out with an idea of, I've been through something really, really, really hard, and I have succeeded. I have moved through it. I have grown through it. And so at some level, there is a period of acceptance. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how the body also kind of goes along with all these emotions and all these feelings. But so with grief and loss, we look forward to getting to the place where we're not triggered so much. You know, in the grief process, what happens, and those of you, again, feel free to chime in and let me know if you're relating to what I'm talking about. But in deep grief, it all lives in the heart. And actually the energy is all stuck in the heart. And so people will have like these grief response. All of a sudden we're talking and everything is fine. And then this grief just kind of comes up. I think of it like a geyser. And the tears come up and it's like, oh my God, where did that come from? And so in the beginning of a grief period, it happens frequently. We're crying all the time. You know, it's very hard to get the words out. But if you allow yourself to experience each one of these emotions and give them space and have a place to talk to people and have people to discuss it with and share memories and all these kinds of things, which is why these events that we're doing are so important, and getting together with friends and family that you can see from all over the country, all over the world, that you really can't see live for the most time. It helps. It helps. And so over time, that grief response gets less intense, and it also gets less frequent. So again, if you'll chime in here on the chat and let me know if any of you have had any of these experiences and where you are on this process of grief, whether it's income or people or dealing with things that you have had to give up. I would love, love, love to hear. So chime in if you would, and let me know if you are with me. And so far, I'm not really seeing anything else. So I will go on. And again, anybody out there, just let me know that you can hear me. That would be really, really, really helpful. Okay, so this is the process of grief and loss. And we've got a bunch more. I'm going to open up my chat and see what do we have. So we have from Scott, Trisha, hi, I hear you, I hear you, I see you. From Laura, we just finished my quiz. And these are all reasonable responses that Christine says, which is actually really true. The virus is putting a crimp in my plans and its domino effect. Absolutely. So what was 2 minutes ago is no more. And one of the things that I say about really good mental health, it's how quickly can you recognize that what was is no more. We are constantly being forced, you know, to step up, to be in the moment, to be here now. And this is challenging, truly, truly, truly challenging. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next piece of this. And I have asked you to take the quiz, this peak performance quiz. And if you haven't taken it, take a moment, if you would. And I don't have my I don't have my cursor here. So it's masteryunderpressure.net. If you could, I'm just going to come out of this for a second and just get this over here. Masteryunderpressure.net. Okay. And again, if you've taken the quiz, could you let me know that you've taken it. And we can, because we're going to do a lot of work with this quiz, and it would be really helpful to know if you're with me. So let's see. So hello, Patricia's taken it. Mike Brady has taken it. Christine has taken it also as well. And again, if you haven't, just take a moment and jump on with it. Masteryunderpressure.net. So I'm going to go on and presume that you have that you've got some answers here for yourself. So let's see. What I want you to do is I want you to take one of those challenges that you may have discovered on this quiz. I have, there's 5 different topics. It's focus, relaxation, dealing with negative self-talk, how to visualize, and dealing with fear. And I'm hearing some background noise. Maybe perhaps whoever could mute yourself, so that would be really, really helpful. So we're going to do an experiment. Everybody got one of the, oh, I don't know where that's coming from. So Elizabeth, I don't know if you can mute people, but anyway, if you'll take one of those challenges that you have found on the quiz, and again, I've got the chat on another computer here now, so let me know if you've picked one area where you're feeling it. As somebody said, you know, there's a domino effect on what's happening. And pick one of those challenges and close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to scan your body from head to toe. Just kind of go and just see if you can find that experience that gets you frustrated in your body. Where does it land? Some people have a really easy time with this, other people don't. But what I'm asking you to do is notice the physical sensation that you're having from this experience, because dealing with stress and dealing with grief and dealing with everything is both a body and a mind experience. So if you've got something that you notice, could you write it down in the chat? And let's kind of go with that. And okay, let's see. I see one. I'm gonna have to keep going out of this slide thing to catch the chat. And
But if I let you know in the chat,
it.
so you don't jump out this minute.
Yeah, that would be great, Scott, because it's hard. If somebody could just kind of give me the comments, that
So
would be
Patricia
really
says, I've taken it, my stomach and chest area, feeling stress in my chest area.
perfect. Perfect. And anybody else feel it in your stomach and your chest, perhaps?
I know that it's easy to get, got friends that are feeling butterflies all the time. Every time they turn on the news, they get the same kind of cramp feeling going on. Stomach, definitely.
Yes.
Nervousness.
Perfect. Perfect. So we can see, and as more people kind of jump in and see what's going on, there's a lot that happens between the body and the mind. And what we do in our culture is we stay mostly in our heads and we try to figure it out. So let's just imagine that you're this person who is working from home. You've got kids in the background. You've got a job to do. You've got a boss. You've got my daughter-in-law is an HR professional. She's having to fire people, and she has a 3-year-old. And so there's a lot of feelings going on. So we could feel upset, we could feel angry, we could feel overwhelmed, annoyed, frustrated. And you could add your own feelings about what happens when you're feeling really, really, really out of control and things are just not the way that you want them. Then you have at the other side of you, a part of you that knows, come on, let's just stay focused. We'll deal with that later. I'm just going to push through this, kind of control yourself, and all these things that we try to do to mitigate these feelings and these distractions that are coming in. Well, the more that we try to push the feelings away and tell ourselves to do things over and over, we can become more frustrated and more angry, and it becomes like a vicious cycle. And again, if anybody can relate to this, please, please, please let me know. And we're gonna talk about why this happens and what happens with stress, and perhaps what you can do to help yourselves. So I use the definition of stress as the perceived amount of control that we think we have or we don't have. So the operative word is perceived. Now, in normal circumstances, let's just imagine that you're afraid of dogs and you're walking down the street and your peripheral vision picks up dogs, and the body goes into a stress response. The muscles tighten, the heart may begin to palpitate, the hands get sweaty, and nanoseconds later, the mind says, dogs. Okay, so the body gets triggered before the mind does. Now, let's just say again that you're a person who loves dogs, and your peripheral vision picks up dogs in the background, and your heart opens, okay, because you love dogs. So the same situation can affect somebody completely differently. Well, in this situation, what we have right now with the coronavirus, we have probably the greatest amount of people feeling the same things. We are perceiving a tremendous amount of control because there is so much that is out of our control. We are living, you know, and again, you've heard this, you know this, your experiences, in a great amount of uncertainty. And we're trying to come up with answers and how we're going to move our businesses along and how we're going to take care of ourselves and do all these things with no data or very little data. So the level of stress is extremely high. So what we're attempting to do, and I kind of call this this window of tolerance. I didn't make it up. I always think of this as a buffer. But if you can see my hands here, here comes the stress, and we have this capacity. Our body mind has the capacity to tolerate this amount of stress. And as soon as we hit the lid of this amount of stress, our nervous system then goes into the stress response. And that's what happens when the adrenaline starts pumping and the heart starts racing, and all of those things that are connected to the stress response, which means that the sympathetic nervous system is now activated. And the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the one that say, oh, we got a lot of money in the bank and everything is great, is offline. So what we want to do in peak performance, but even just thinking, forgetting even about peak performance, just tolerance, is we want to be able to increase our body mind's tolerance for stress. So here comes the stress. Now we have a tremendous amount of capacity to tolerate it. And yes, it's a problem, but it's just a problem. It's not something that takes us out on a daily basis. So this is what great athletes and coaches work on. And this is the perspective that I come from. Again, that it's a body and a mind experience. So when I asked you to feel that feeling in your body, and if you feel it in your stomach and you feel it in your heart, it's a shortcut that lets us know that we have these amount of, that this is the feeling that's going on. And then we have some antidotes. We have some ways to deal with this stress. So I'm going to go through these different areas that I teach in my program that in order to increase your level of performance, that will increase your level to be able to tolerate the amount of stress that we're going through right now. So this is a 5-part thing. And yes, it's, if you can take 1 or 2 things away, this would be awesome. And one of the things, again, that I'm offering is a consultation that we can talk about your quizzes and talk about what's going on for you. So the first thing is focus. When I said in the beginning that I have been also highly focused, in addition to all the stress that I'm feeling, just putting together this presentation, putting together calls that I'm doing, for preparation that I'm doing, I have been highly focused. And in order to be focused, you have to know actually when you're out of focus so that you can bring yourself back in. And again, I would appreciate anybody who wants to kind of jump in with any of this stuff and ask questions and comment. So how difficult is it for you at this particular time to stay focused? And what are some of the things that are coming up for you that are distracting and hard to deal with and hard to get back on your game? And again, if you can jump in, and Scott, if anybody puts anything on there, it would be really, really helpful to hear. So just by being on this summit, we are now focusing on things that you can use, hopefully, and things that you can take, the thing that Scott did in the next 2 days are going to be amazing. That gives us an opportunity of a little bit of a break from all the other things that are going on. Relaxation. How many of you are feeling really relaxed? Probably not a whole lot.
Laura Blunt says it feels like an ulcer in the pit of my stomach all the time.
Absolutely. And that ulcer in the pit of the stomach, my hunch is there's a lot of fear, because that's where we hold fear. We hold different emotions in different parts of the body. When we were talking about grief and loss, we were talking a lot about it being localized in the heart. Also, fear shows up in the heart too, but it frequently shows up in the pit of our stomach, which is where our power center is. So when we are feeling helpless and hopeless and powerless, we are feeling a lot in the stomach. So again, these are shortcuts. So when I feel, I know that I don't like to be controlled, and I don't know anybody who really likes it, but I really, really, really don't like it. And so I feel it in my shoulders and my neck. And as soon as I start to feel those feelings, I can look around and say, where do I feel out of control? Where is this pressure coming from? So the body gives me information. I don't have to think about it too much, because I've trained myself and I've studied enough to know my own body and my own body's reactions to things. So this is sort of the goal of where, I love to take people, and so that you become the master of who you are in a way that is very, very, very empowering. I was talking on a podcast yesterday, and I was saying to somebody, it's really your secret weapon. When you have mastered these things, and I'm going to continue to go through them, but when you have mastered these skills, because they are skills, just like all the skills that, just Scott was talking about his skills in LinkedIn. He's amazing with that. He's masterful at it. We want to be skillful at managing ourselves so that we can take whatever aspect that we give in the world and do it with great performance and spectacular kinds of things that we do for other people. So focus, knowing when you're in focus, knowing when you're out of focus, and how to bring yourself back into focus. So one of the things is just a little exercise. When we talk about meditation, meditation is focused concentration. Simply focused concentration. So if I'm feeling really off the wall and, I could just pick up a pen and just focus on that for just a few moments and feel what it feels like for the mind to begin to start to draw in and become single focused. What that does is it relaxes the left side of the brain, which is the chatter side, where all this talk is coming from. And it quiets that down, and it opens up the right side of the brain, which is our creative side. So just a simple little thing like focus. Any of you who have done yoga and any balance postures where you stand and you focus on one point on the wall, on the floor or the wall or anywhere, and the body just begins to start to quiet down. So this connects also to relaxation. Your breath is the only voluntary process that we have that can change that nervous system from that sympathetic, stress response to that quiet place inside. So There's a breath, it's called the three-part breath. It's a yogic breath, which starts deep, deep, deep in the belly. And you start to breathe from there, and your belly, your rib cage, and your upper chest. It's a practice. And we frequently breathe from particularly when we're nervous and anxious and we have that pit in our stomach, we breathe from our upper chest. And the breath is short and shallow. And there's a wonderful saying that says, your mind is where your breath is. So if your breath is very short and shallow, your mind is very spacey. If your breath is really long and low, the mind quiets down. And the whole piece and everything that I teach here, it's learning how to quiet down the body so the mind is clear. This is what we're looking for, quiet body so the mind is clear. And then negative self-talk. This is one of the biggest things that we have to learn how to manage. I like to, instead of positive thinking, when I think of positive thinking, sometimes it feels kind of unreal. Like, oh my God, I'm just going to be happy today. And that doesn't feel very real. And so I like to think of productive thinking. Do my thoughts produce something useful for me? If I'm watching the news and I'm hearing the same thing over and over and over again, and I notice that my mood is sinking, I'm asking myself, is this taking me to a good place? Is this productive for me? No. Know your limits. Know your limits. And sometimes we're really good at being able to tell our minds to quiet down. Other times we're not so good because there's something else that we need to address. And so the psychologists have identified 27 different categories of emotions. That's not different emotions, but just categories. So as we get better and better and better at recognizing our own emotions, then we get better and better and better about problem solving. What do I need to do at this particular moment in time to be able to take my mind into a productive place? And I saw, Scott, maybe there were a couple more things on the chat. You want to jump in?
Yes, I had to unmute myself there real fast.
That's okay.
Let me pull this up here real fast. Christina says, thank you for the breath, mind, connecting language you shared. It's awesome. Nathaniel says, supervising online learning for kids 9 to 17 years old while trying to be productive. It's a previous quote there for you. But others, I was pulling up the Facebook. Jim says that thank you so much for being here and sharing this stuff. Is very, very helpful.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much for the feedback. I love it. So, fear. How many of you are experiencing fear out there? I certainly know that I am. My family is all over the country and clients all over the world. And I know nobody is escaping this. You know, the thing about this virus and this experience is we are all on an even playing field. And whether you're the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company and the Prime Minister of England, this illness doesn't it doesn't make you any better than me or me any better than you. So how do we deal with the fear? Well, number one, my big motto to all of you is we have to name it. We have to recognize it. You know, our tendency, fear is I have a bunch of wonderful sayings about fear, but it's the only thing that gets smaller as you get closer. So when I think about the scariest things for me are my children and my grandson, you know, that something terrible would happen to them. Well, if I allow that fear to escalate, I just go into what if this happens and what if this happens and what if this happens. I have to really kind of turn it around into really, so what if it happens? It would be absolutely positively awful. And at the same time, there is a resiliency in all of us. And I know it's a really kind of scary thing to think about, but somehow or other, we do come through. You know, when I lost my parents in a car accident, it was like, why me? Well, why not me? I'm human. These things happen to people. And yet there was always a part of me, a kernel inside of me that knew I would be okay. I would survive no matter how horrible. And so I know it's the worst casing scenario, but somehow, again, for me, knowing that I am resilient and that the human condition is resilient. And just when I took you through that grief and loss process, the psyche is unbelievably resilient. And so one of my favorite kind of people that I go back and quote is, I grew up, right after World War II, and Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book Man in Search of Meaning. The Nazis could take everything away from them, but they couldn't take away his mind. So we have to become very, very disciplined with our minds. And it doesn't happen overnight. Again, it's a skill. You have to be able to recognize where your mind is going. So I took that worst case. Okay, so there's another thing that says the only way past the fear is through it. Things that I'm scared about doing. This is a wonderful time to learn new things, LinkedIn learning and courses. And, I'm going to make an appointment with Scott and kind of go through my LinkedIn thing. And so taking my mind off of something that is scary that I have no control over to something that I have control over. Because the number one question when you're scared is, what's in my control, what's out of my control? I'll repeat it. What's in my control, what's out of my control? What's in my control is how I use my day. It's how the people that I connect it to, how I use my mind, how long I sit in front of that TV, how I connect with friends and having a Passover Seder with family that's all across the country. That was pretty cool. Meeting with my oldest girlfriends that I grew up with in Philadelphia and so on. So naming the fear, you've got to be able to name it first. And then you have to look at, okay, so now what can I do with it? What's in my control? What's out of my control? Once I've identified those worst fears, that's not my reality right now. I just recognize that it's a fear. And I talk to my children on a daily basis and how are you? Then I get busy with something else. So again, if anybody has any comments or questions about that, feel free to jump in, because this is such an important question and people are really, really stuck a lot in this fear cycle. What happens with my business? What happens if I can't pay my rent? Well, we're all going to deal with this step by step by step by step by step, because we're all in it together. Everybody's in it. And then lastly, we use the visualization to visualize what it is that we want to create. So before I do a talk, before I get on stage, before I even meet with a client, particularly if it's somebody new or somebody that I want to be really on for, I sit for a couple minutes and I visualize what it is that I actually want to create. So one of the things that I decided for this period of time, I have had a habit of listening to the news when I go to sleep and picking up my cell phone in the morning when I get up. And what I notice is my mood is crappy. Crappy before I go to sleep. It doesn't help. And I get into all these problems and issues in the morning. So I have put the phone away. Before I get up, I don't watch, before I go to sleep, I don't watch the news and I don't pick up my phone the first thing in the morning. And I visualize what I want my day to look like, how productive I want to be, who I want to connect with. And so I'm constantly working on bringing myself up to a higher level of functioning. We all have the capacity, every single person on this call didn't get where you are by, letting a lot of these things kind of keep you back. But we are being challenged right now to continuously stay, honestly, like a mind Nazi, kind of keep checking in with yourself, keep checking in with the feelings that are going on. Once you recognize the feelings, dive in, get a little deeper. What can I do? We know all the things that we can't do. We are restricted everywhere. We know that. What can I do? What can I do? So I see again, there's a couple more chats, and Scott, it would be great if you could read a couple. That would be wonderful, and then we can.
Patricia says on here, what helped me is recalling past circumstances that I overcame. I use those experiences as a reminder that this will be okay too.
That's great.
Got one here from Mary Jo. She was, I just wanted to explain let's see here. Just want to explain that I haven't responded because I feel like I'm the minority, where the situation has actually brought me so much peace and opportunity. Time, it's a precious gift that's been lacking in my life for so long. So I'm not taking this very unique. So I'm not taking this very unique opportunity for granted. Running my business while doing my W-2 job concurrently from home, lots of stress the past 3 years since I started doing 2 jobs at once with a very low income, but at least outside stresses are now removed. I was very fearful of getting the virus because I'm a single mom, and the thought of my son being here without me overwhelmed me at first. Now I feel better because I've been home so many weeks. I could be in a complete panic mode. Since I have home to sell that are completely stalled and large hard money loans on them with no cash flow to get paid up. But I'm at a piece of trust while prudently working with my business. Thank you for sharing.
Beautiful. So what was her name? Who was that?
That was Mary Jo Peterson.
Mary Jo. Mary Jo, thank you so much, because what you have demonstrated is utilizing all of these skills that we're talking about. And there is a certain piece of faith that's resilient thinking. People who are very resilient think in a certain way. They think optimistically that this is something that is temporary. This is something that we will get through. Going back and remembering past, just the way I described, the terrible loss that I had in my life. There was a piece, a kernel always that I knew that I would get through it, that I was not the first person to have lost somebody in a sudden death, and other people got through it. How was I going to do it? I always love to look for people who are ahead of me, and if they did it, I could do it. And how did they do it? So these are all pieces of resiliency. And so if you notice, and again, because we're all human, we may notice that we're not always that strong. And so we go back and we pick up those pieces. I get the way I described, being really scared about my kids and things that I had to give up. Okay, so I recognize it. One of the things, as this thing started really, really early on, and I started to be incredibly aware at how anxious I was. And so I didn't try to pretend that I wasn't anxious. I just said, wow, I am so anxious. So, what's in my control, what's out of my control? And I started to pick up those things. And once I name them and then maybe sit and breathe for a couple minutes, because I'm not looking at my phone every morning, I'm getting in my meditation time and my writing time and the things that just settle me down. And so again, this is a great opportunity to catch up and learn, but you have to be vigilant. I guess that's one of my really biggest messages. You have to be vigilant with yourself and not let the fear come and run away with you. And what else do we have? 2 new messages I see. Spirituality is huge. Yes. And here's somebody else says, I can see these now. I went through a significant loss, my second son 12 years ago, and it gives you skills you wouldn't otherwise have. Yes. So again, when we started out with this loss and grief, these are really, really, really hard things to go through. And yet, if we keep working it, we come out stronger in the other end. There's a wonderful book, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? If any of you, it was written by a rabbi many, many years ago. And it helps us build compassion. Truly, through our own suffering, we build compassion for others. And if we can get, again, beyond the fear and look at how we can give, the law of giving and receiving begins to operate. Somebody told me many years ago that Tina, you need to work spiritually. And I really didn't know what that meant at the time. But there are universal principles that are always operating. And if we can tap into those universal principles and ride with them, we will ride this wave. We'll ride it right out, and we will become stronger. And so, anything else? Yes, anything else that anybody wants to jump in, and it's really great to share with you all. And Michelle says, no more chatter from me on mute now. I struggled when I was using my phone. Shout out to Tina for being a total pro about it. Thank you. So, yes, so I am just as Scott offered before, I am open to, anybody that took the quiz, there's a good chance that I will have your information. I don't abuse it in any way, shape, or form. If you're interested in a 30-minute consultation and dive a little deeper and go through the quizzes that you took, there are areas I'm sure that you're strong on, and areas perhaps that you could use some assistance. We'll go through it, we'll assess it. And I am, for me at this time, in just in a crazy way, as Mary Jo was, this is my time. This is what I have spent my entire career learning and doing, so that I can learn myself, and then I can teach it beyond that. So for you, for anybody else that that could use this kind of help, I'm here.
Patricia
Anything
comments that this is awesome and very necessary because it's usually my emotional state that hinders me.
Yes. Yes. And, this is particularly for those of us that are in business, we don't talk about this very much. And when I go into a workshop or a talk, and just imagine, okay, just for all of us that are on here right now, you walk into a room and you're getting ready to give your business talk, and you just sit there and imagine, I wonder else who has suffered from cancer here. I wonder who's on medication for depression or bipolar disorder, and who has really kind of made it through. And, I wonder if somebody's working. We all have these things. We take them with us wherever we go. And if we don't tap into caring for each other and acknowledging them, we are missing a whole part of the human experience. And I always say, people ask me, like, in marketing, who's your niche? And because I'm a therapist, you're all my niche, everybody. But that's not a marketing thing. But the truth is, if you're living and breathing, these are the skills that if you really take the time, and practice and learn, as I said, it's your secret weapon. It will take you everywhere, through everything that life gives you. Every obstacle, you have something to draw on. And this is my book. It's called Mastery Under Pressure. Everything that you want from me is called Mastery Under Pressure, an online program, and so on. But it's all about building up your level of resiliency. And so resilient people bounce back. Resilient companies bounce back. And we will. You've got a whole community here supporting you from every single different aspect that you could ever imagine in your businesses. And I'm the one that works between the ears. Because if you work on yourself first, this is my bias, if you work on yourself first and you bring that best self to your businesses, then you're just unstoppable. So anything else before I think we're pretty well close to time.
You have 12 minutes left. 12 minutes left.
I have 12 minutes left. Well, I have repeated pretty much. Is there anything else that anybody wants more help with? I can even take any one of your challenges and we can work with it. We can look at it. And if you've done the quiz and you've got something on there that you would love some help with.
Gary mentions, he goes, thanks, Tina, what amazing tools you offered, which is awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Jim says he just likes, Jim from the Facebook live stream says he has to remind himself constantly that he's got this and just take a breath and that, hey, we're all in this together.
That's right. It's really helpful, right? That we're all in it together, because now it's all out in the open. Most of the times we suffer silently and pretend that we've got it all together. And we don't. So these kinds of summits and these kinds of sharing is really, really helpful to know that we're all going through it at different levels. And it's never the same every day. There's some days that I feel really, really, really calm and good and happy. And other days when I have to put on that mask and go out and go to the market. And even if people bring things in for me, it's like, where did this come from and who touched it? And all that kind of stuff. So Yes, so it is a wave of emotion, just a wave. And, again, I'm happy to keep going. I can go back, but I think you get the message. I think people get it. And if you are suffering in silence, no need to suffer in silence. And again, I'm offering it, I'm here. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, But what I will say is, as the days go on, it may get even more challenging, because in the beginning we're all getting it's something new, but the days are long. I know my husband teaches tennis, and he can't teach tennis right now, and so having to reinvent yourself every day and stay focused and stay up and stay connected to your clients. And so just do things that will renew you, get outside, and nature, honestly, is one of the best panaceas for all of these things. And
What's the best way for people, if they filled out the survey, if they wanted to reach out to you to work with you a little bit more one-on-one? Is there a
absolutely. So you can reach me at Tina@masteryunderpressure.com. Tina@masteryunderpressure.com.
Okay.
You can find my book on Amazon, and you can even text me at 631-988-1109. That's 631-988-1109.
Cool. Gary asked a question here. He goes, how do you judge how much energy you give to the facts, and how much do you visualize and use your other tools and techniques?
That's a great question, Gary. Well, we create by our minds. We create our own realities. And so we have to listen to the facts, the data, because otherwise we're operating in sort of la-la land. When people ask, well, when is this going to be over? And when can I have my thing? And when can I do it? We don't know. But we certainly can visualize. And honestly, coming from a spiritual and a prayer perspective, the more people that visualize peace, and the more people that visualize, helping each other and compassion, the greater the energy field is to have an impact. And so I'm still working on, I was just on a call earlier this morning with other consultants, and people are saying, you got to think about the future. You got to create the future that you want, and then you'll have to pivot again. So one of the things that Harv Eker says from Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, I learned a long time ago, you only have to see 200 yards in front of you. You only have to see 200 yards in front of you. So, because once you're in the next 200 yards, everything looks different. So if we look today from where we are, and what we want to create within the next 60 days, just go the next 60 days, and who we want to connect with. And who, again, this is a fabulous time to meet up with people that you have wanted to talk to, or because we're all home, everybody's home. And so there are people I belong to another group where we meet every Friday, and I look around and people that I want to make calls with and set those up for the next week. I'm busier now than I've been in a long time, to tell you the truth. So yes, spend time visualizing where you want to go, what you want, how you want to deliver your services. And at the same time, let's listen to the good facts that give us information that will let us know how to, when and how to move forward.
Awesome job, Tina. Well, hey, we will let you get rocking and rolling. Thank you again so much for coming on here and providing some great content today. All right. Thanks, Tina.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Tina. Yes.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right. So what we're going to do, guys, everybody, we're just going to take a short break. We're actually running a little ahead of schedule here. So we're just going to take a 5-minute break, and we're going to have Michelle Young come on a couple minutes early in a little bit. So just take a quick 5-minute break, and Michelle will be on here at 40 minutes past the hour. give her a few extra minutes. Okay.
Did you just say me? Did you say I get to come on? Oh.
You get to come on. Yes, you do. You can go come on. You
Can I do it now? I'm gonna do it now. I'm so excited.
No, you can't.
I can't.
Give everybody
Michelle,
5 minutes.
you are banned. You're banned.
I'm going to
Okay.
dampen your enthusiasm. Did you borrow your husband's office?
Well, yeah, because I live at the zombie apocalypse sanctuary, and internet is hard to come by. It's like we get little sips through straws, and I thought you guys don't want to sip through a straw. You want to drink from the river. So yes, I considered bringing all my own crap to put behind me, but then I was like, whatever. And it's zombie apocalypse time. Give me a break. So yes, the answer is yes.
Do you have slides?
No, I just have I have a workshop. We're gonna do a workshop, everybody.
You're just gonna spiff it. Okay. 4 minutes.
I'm
I'll
just-
introduce you.
Okay, make it like can you do jazz hands the entire time? Okay, yeah. The entire time you're talking, you have to do this.
I
It's
don't know if
now
I
a
can
rule.
speak and do jazz hands at the same time.
I believe in you.
Can I?
Don't try gum.
But I have to read.
Juliet, we can
Oh,
hardly
gosh.
hear you.
Oh, I'm over.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Juliet, you speak and I'll do jazz hands for you.
I can do it.
The teamwork makes the dream work. Perfect.
Did Tina leave? Good job, Tina.
Yeah, Tina, oh my gosh. I hope Tina didn't go because she brought her A game. That was
She did.
I hope everybody recognizes what a gifted therapist she is, because that was, I was listening going, girl, you got game.
So do you feel insecure
Oh, good
following
teaser.
her?
No, she set me up so well. Tina, you and I, we got each other, sister.
Yes.
Other than the whole, if you would like to come in and like, just like crinkle some paper, chew some gum. You could even be a Zoom troll. I was on a call where I know they call them something else, but I don't care about making up a new name for people that like to say things like bitch on Zoom. It's like, okay, we've heard your bad words before, but whatever. Anyway, point is, I feel totally solid here. I'm like Tina and I going back and forth. We got the stuff. We're just gonna have fun.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. I'll see if I can find us a Zoom troll while you're talking, just to make you feel really
I think you would
comfortable.
make, yeah, just like to use some unattractive words that make me awkward, and I'll be like, I don't know what. Okay,
Maybe
yeah, if we could
Scott's
do-
got a sound effect that would.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a
for
minute.
us.
Wait a minute. You do. Where are the sound effects, Scott?
I was actually going to ask Scott if he would actually back me up on this. Scott's seen me perform before, so he knows the go meh, meh, like he knows when to do it.
He does. He's very good at that.
I think I left my 16 ways to say the F word at the office.
Oh, I can riff it, Scott. I can riff it. So I grew up in a super rural community and in a very conservative community. So of course, as a 13-year-old, I thought, you know what seems like a good idea, to basically memorize George Carlin and shock the hell out of people. So I'm like this 12-year-old little Mormon girl walking around going, you want to hear the 7 words you can't say on TV? And by the way, I can roll them. And I taught all the other Mormon girls too. They're like, you should go talk to Michelle. She knows how to swear. So
Wait.
yeah, just bring it.
I bet you were embraced by the whole Mormon community. You're their poster child.
There's another story. There's a long story behind
They
that. For
told
another
me it was
minute.
a hug, but it looked like a straight jacket. Whatever.
Okay. All right. 1 more minute. 1 more minute.
Do you want me to riff some more? Do you want me to do this?
We,
No, I'm
we
not
can start right now. We don't have to wait. If we're ready to rock and roll, let's rock and
Let's
roll.
rock and roll.
Okay.
Oh,
We got
So,
stuff to do.
Yes.
all right. So, Michelle Young, I'm supposed to like read this thing, but I'm really not going to read
Put
much
my
of
middle
it.
name. I mean, my maiden name. Because
I'm
Michelle
sorry.
Young, who is she? I like Google Michelle Young. There are millions of us.
Michelle Pearson Young. Now you can go look her up in the genealogy of LDS. Now that you have, it's Pier If you want
Do
to
you want
look
to give
that
them
up.
my address too,
She
Juliet?
is, yeah, that'd be great. She is a speaker, a teacher, a lover. Wait, isn't that a song? No. Executive
joking.
coach. She's an artist, a traveler, and a mother. And let me just give you the scoop on her.
Just
She's
tell us.
super sassy. She's super inappropriate. If you need a session with her, you will leave feeling like the world is a great place because you have just laughed so much that you don't have any problems left. I get to talk to her occasionally because her husband's my coach. And oh, that's right. I
thank you.
really, oh my God, now I can't talk. I can't talk and read.
Okay, it's okay.
I really enjoy being around her. And I think you guys will have a lot of fun. She's very, very therapeutic in so many inappropriate ways. So Michelle Pearson Young, it's your turn. Come on down.
The crowd goes wild. Can I just say that is truly the best intro I've ever had? That's nailed it. I'm just, let me know what your fees are for like, I'm going to have my intro person and, this is Juliet. So we'll talk. Call me.
Yeah, I'll send you a bill.
So first of all, I want to thank everybody who's organized this. For those of you who are attending, there have been hours and hours and hours that have gone into really creating something and, being on the back end of the conversations, really creating something that is bringing value. These are professionals, the entire panel, these are professionals that came together and said, how can we bring value in this, and my words, not theirs, super duper bizarre time? How can I bring value? So I want to thank Juliet, Elizabeth, and Scott. They are the three masterminds behind this. And I got the email. Juliet called me and invited me, and I said it then and I'll say it again. It was really humbling to be brought on to talk about mindset, to talk about the piece part of the pivot. And it's a holistic experience, as Scott did his pinch hit this morning and was talking about the different ways he's pivoted, the different opportunities he's done. As Tina was talking about, really kind of the anatomy of fear and what it does in our brain and how we can use that. I'll tell you what, I was taking notes during Tina's presentation. That was what you heard, all the talk back that you could hear when I accidentally got on and didn't mute myself. Taking copious notes because she knows her stuff and I will tell you this from personal experience, finding a gifted therapist is a rare and beautiful gem. And Tina's, just from what I heard her present, she has the chops. So if that is in the market, and I think that a lot of people are in a moment where they're going, I was able to deal with the things that were scaring me. I was managing them and then, and managing, right? Most of us are just managing. And then I got this whole boatload on top of new special fear. And that's what happens is people go, wait a second, I was managing my fear before, which means we're hanging out with it and dancing with it. And now I have more and I can't manage now. So if that's where you are and you're finding these psychological things that are popping up and you go, I don't have control over this. From what I heard Tina talk about, she is a great solution, great place to start, and a great resource, which is exactly what this summit is about. So when I was invited to this, I have to admit that I got, I was feeling all sassy. You guys get there. I was like, yeah, I got this invitation. So, do this all the time. I'm a great professional. And I just whipped off a name. This is what I'm going to call my presentation. And so then I went back to it. I came back to it and I'm like, okay, I need to double check exactly what was my thinking. And I read the name of what I was going to talk about, our workshop that we're going to do today. And I read it and I was like, oh, that's trash. And I actually sent Juliet this, do you guys ever send freaking out fear texts? And I'm like, please tell me, no matter what, that I can undo this terrible damage, because it was feeling the fear and moving forward in it wasn't this bad, in a cosmic moment where we feel confused. And I'm like, oh no, 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 no. So let me tell you what I called it. Apocalypse mastery. It's our time to shine. So I want to tell you one of my very favorite stories to start out, to give you an idea of what I do and why my clients get the relief and the results that they're looking for. Two just charming old ladies go out for a joyride in the afternoon. They come together and they're like, it's time to get out. You can imagine with the quarantine going on, they're like, what are we even doing? Let's just go out and go for a joyride. We're going to have a good time. So they go out and they have the best time, and the sun is shining and they're driving up through the hills and they're talking and they are laughing because they are old friends and they're enjoying themselves. This is where it's at, right? The time to do what we want. And as they returned home, it was getting dark and they didn't want to be out. I know I'm starting to experience that a little bit. As they're returning home, Edna looks over at Ethel and she says, I think Ethel just ran a red light, but Edna's not a fault finder. So she goes back out on the road and they continue to talk. And pretty soon she looks over and she goes, well, I am quite sure that, wait, did I say Edna and Irma? Sorry, I've changed the names recently. So anyway, Edna looks over at Irma and she goes, for sure, she just ran a red light. And then it happened a third time. And finally, Edna looks over at Irma and she says, why, Irma, I just watched you run 3 red lights. And Irma looks over at her aghast and says, oh, was I driving? I'm hearing you're chuckling. Yeah. Whomever was it, is that you, Juliet? Because we've all been there, right? I was there on my drive into the office this morning. I was like, oh, wait a second, Michelle, you should just look at the road now. You should just look at the road. The reason I like to start out my presentations with that story, first of all, it makes me laugh every time. And my 98-year-old grandmother gave me that joke. She laughed so hard, and she always says, I like to have a joke a day, and that's my joke a day. She's 98, so sometimes I get the same joke a day every time I see her, but I love it. So the reason she told me that, and the bells went and whistles went off in my head, and I thought, you know what? All of us are Irma. All of us are Irma at some point in time. We look around and we go, wait a second, where am I? And how did I get myself here? Was I driving? Was I driving? So you've had 2 glorious experts talk to you this morning already. And you're here because things have gotten weird, right? Stuff's kind of weird right now. And so when I named my presentation today, I named it Apocalypse Mastery. It's our time to shine, specifically because the uncomfortable circumstances that we're in, all of those idiosyncrasies that you've been struggling against in your own personality, those weird tendencies, those, God, what am I doing? All of those are getting pushed out. When I was talking about coming to Tina and talking to her, it's because a lot of stuff is rising up. What we were able to manage 3 months ago, we're now like, wait a second, I have the things that I was working really against managing, and now I have all of this, and I don't even know what this is. I think that's the scariest part. What is this thing? Is it an apocalypse? Is it a quarantine? Is it a cover-up? Is it an opportunity? I'm going to slow down there. Is it an opportunity? So I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you where I'm coming from in order to take you on a journey with me today. So if you're willing, I'd like you to be my, hold on, are you driving? You're the passenger. I'd like you to be my Irma, and I'll be Edna, and I'll drive, okay? I'm going to pay attention. I promise. I know I'm at the wheel of the car, and I'm going to invite you to being at the wheel of your own car. So Tina talked about one of the things that I was like, this is genius, is she said, fear is the only thing that gets smaller as you get closer. And most of us weren't taught. And Tina, if you wanna pop in and go, oh, Michelle, I can tell you the science behind that and give us a little quick blip, you're welcome to, or not. But fear, we're taught to avoid it and pretend it doesn't happen and go, what? That's not my fear. Is it? So tell us, what's the science behind that? Do people know what to do with this, my friend?
They don't know.
They don't? Is that what you said?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I heard you mumble.
Oh,
I actually-
they don't know what it is. It's the alert system in the brain. It's
Right.
the reticular activating system that's always on alert.
It's on automation. And Tina taught you, Tina gave, and Tina, I won't call you out again. You're welcome to mute yourself out and be,
Oh,
whatever.
Fine.
And if you want to, if I'm saying something and you're like, oh no, that specifically is this, like join on in, my friend. So Tina is teaching you and can continue to teach you how to use your fear in order to move you forward. And that is the elegant thing that people get to do when their apple cart is upset. That old saying, wow, her apple cart is really upset. I upset her apple cart. Well, all of our apple carts are upset right now. And it's something called, and I just love this word. I actually did a fireside workshop on this. It's called structure loss. So there are different kinds of fear, different ways that fears show up, and structure loss is one of them. And structure loss happens, you guys check this out, it's like textbook, it was made for this. Structure loss happens when we approach a problem we've never approached before and we don't know how to sort it out, to solve the problem. That's why these experts have gathered together going, hey, all of us together, let's all use our skills mutually so that we can help people do new things that they've never done before. So the reason I'm looking at this is with much opportunity. And I will do the disclaimer going, I know that there are people that are truly suffering. And I know that this is, and there are people who have lost their lives. And I want to be respectful and say, hey, that is happening and that is true, in addition to other things. So as I respectfully talk about opportunities, I also am inviting each one of us to acknowledge that not everybody is in a position to go, oh, this is a great opportunity. Some people are going, hey, I was barely managing before, and now I'm not managing. And we get to hold space for that as well. For those of us who've made it to this call at all, to this summit, we know there at least you're in a position, you're well enough to collect some information. And I'm going to workshop with you through how we deal with structure loss. And Tina teed me off beautifully because she talked about getting closer to fear and having that fear get smaller. So structure loss, what it does, the interesting thing about structure loss, and what I call it for me, when I discovered structure loss, I was describing it to my mentor and I'm like, I feel super squidgy inside. I became like that 13-year-old girl going, I don't know what to do. And there's a real internal, like when people use the word stuck for their lives, it's like that. It's like, oh, this doesn't, it's almost a breath holding moment. And structure loss feels like that. So as we look at structure loss, what has to happen, these emotions are meant to motivate us and move us. And when we go, I have structure loss, that means I have to be present. That's why it hurts. So much of what we do is in the autonomous system that Tina was talking about. So we go, okay, this is the way I drive to work today. Okay, this is how I pay my bills. Okay, this is how I make my money. This is how I do it. And we don't even think about it. We just go next, 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 next. Structure loss feels bad because we don't yet have solutions. And it also feels bad because that autopilot thing that is a real luxury. Autopilot's a real luxury. Well, it gets turned off and we have to go, I have to go to work now. I turn left here. Maybe if I turn right, I'll get a different result. And it takes more of our energy. Well, so the opportunity in this is that we're already out of those normal ruts, if you will. We're out of our stuckness, at least in our lives. And our life stuck, we can't be stuck right now because we have to be present. And that also, so when a lot of people, well, my clients come to me and they say, Michelle, I am very successful in these areas because we're all successful in certain areas, but I can't seem to ring that bell right there. I don't seem to be able to reach that. I've reached this, and most people would go, shouldn't that be enough for you? But we're growing creatures. So it's always the what's next thing. What can I grow next? But what we're doing right now, when my clients come to me, when we're all sitting in our homes in our apocalypse clothes, I have by a little side note, I actually have apocalypse pants because I'm working during the week. I only get to wear them on my weekends, but they're green, they're fabulous, they're cozy, they're made of Tencel, it's breathable, but they're like my coziest pants. So, you know, as we're like in our apocalypse pants and we're doing our normal things or our unusual things, the discomfort that we're experiencing is an opportunity because we're not on autopilot anymore. So I help my clients, I actually help them move into structure loss because they need to know they're there. Just like Tina explaining, hey, this is what fear is and this is what we can do with it. I'm explaining, hey, this is called structure loss and it's a super cool tool because I actually guide my clients at their request and moving at their speed into structure loss. It doesn't feel good. And I'm like, this is gonna be tight and it's gonna hurt because structure loss does not feel good. Everybody who's in this together, it just feels like, should I be scared today? You know, I mean, we're looking at our phones, you like that? We're looking at our phones and we're like, let me see if the news wants to tell me to be scared today. Should I go to Facebook and see if my friends want to tell me to be scared today? Should I be scared today? Well, I'm inviting you into structure loss, which is a low level of fear, which is just that kind of, that like one level up alert. This doesn't look normal. I'm sensing that things are unusual. I don't know what to do with it. And that's when we take the client and go, what do you want to do with it? So that's what we're going to do today. So like the zombie apocalypse brought us here to the way it did all the hard work for me. And I'm bringing you into the fun part. That's what our workshop's going to be. So hold on. Tina says she likes the term, yeah, structural loss. All you, Tina. What you are encouraging is like taking your shoes and putting them on the opposite feet. Well, yeah, it's gonna be uncomfortable, but it's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be super interesting. So Edna and Irma, they're out and they're really enjoying their lives. You see, our lives before this happened, there was a lot of good in them. Even if you were like, oh, I really need to change. Oh, this has got to stop. There was a lot of good in them. But the question is, and this is why my clients come to me, and my clients are happy people. My clients have, you know, they have great things. I mean, they're not always happy because who amongst us, am I right? But they come to me and they're like, I can't quite get there. And it's because we have to think different thoughts if we're going to get a different result. Einstein, the great, right? I actually, we should do that, shouldn't we? He deserves a the great. Einstein, the great, said, the problem isn't in the problem is in the thinking about the problem. So we have the luxury of our habits and our rituals. We have that luxury. And the problems that we had then, we were thinking about the problems in a different way than we can afford now. So we don't have the luxury of being unconscious to what we're doing, but we do have the opportunity to go, what didn't I like before? And what would I like in the future? So that's the first part of us workshopping this out. And I would love if all y'all would interact, and any of the panelists, if you want to interact on this too. You know, we're an equal opportunity workshop. Anybody who wants to play along, and all y'all, just so you know, first of all, I will harass all of the panelists that I know well enough to give a hard time. That basically equals 2 of you, you know who you are. Secondly, go ahead and share, put in the chat, I've got the chat up here, and put in questions, or if you don't understand what I've just invited you to do, because sometimes I can get convoluted, then put in there, what exactly do you mean? But the first thing we're going to do is, way back before the apocalypse and quarantine, hopefully nobody's getting triggered with my wording here. I just always like the words zombie apocalypse. And when I got the opportunity to use apocalypse at all with this, I was just like, let's just go with it. So that's right. Thank you, Scott. Scott takes exception to my wording. Got it. So how do we know which structure to address first? Elizabeth asks. So perfect question, Elizabeth. So as you're looking at it, as you go back, and I'm describing since I scared Scott, he's such a gentle soul. He's just very sensitive. I won't use the A word again. Well, at least not the one I used before. I'll use other A words. Anyway, if you look back quarantine life, when my life was on autopilot, where was I feeling the most discomfort? So that's the structure. So Juliet says, that's always my question. Which structure to address first? Which ones hurts the most? Because the thing is, let's say that everything in my life is going so fabulous and you're like, my business is the greatest, or my health, I tell my clients, on a scale of 1 to 5, rate your health, and a 1 is I'm sick and tired, it's difficult to get out of bed, and a 5 is I'm a sexy beast. So if you're at a 5 and you're like, oh, I'm a sexy beast, fine. You're probably not feeling super coachable if you're at a 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. What does hurt right now? Because even if my health is at a 5, except for I have a terrible infection in my baby toe. So think about this. My business is going gangbusters. I'm a sexy beast. My relationships are on point. My time and financial freedom is just rocking and rolling. But I've got a gnarly infection in my pinky baby toe. That affects my business, doesn't it? So go to your biggest pain point. My baby toe infection is going to be like, I'm going to be cranky with clients, or I'm not going to want to get on calls, or I'm going to be like, I'm at my A game, even though I'm not. So go to your biggest pain point and start there. So on a scale of 1 to 5, whatever the pain point is, and I'll give you my 4 pillars that I work with clients on. 1 is your health, because if you are, I think of, who was that? You guys, somebody give me a shout out here. Who was the crazy multi-millionaire who built the Spruce Goose? How ridiculous is it that I can remember the name Spruce Goose, but I can't remember? Rockefeller came to my mind. Who's Howard Hughes? Thank you, Laura Blanc. Oh, Elizabeth's got my back too. Think about Howard Hughes, genius, intellect great, really super rich, could do whatever he wanted. And yet we know that the final years of his life were spent in a dark room with sketchy people around him, and he was suffering. So whatever area of your life is causing you the most pain is the easiest lever for you to get the most relief. I gave you 1 to 5. A 1 in health is I'm sick and tired and it's hard to get out of bed every day. And a 5 is I'm a sexy beast. I look and feel terrific, sleep well. Mental health is included in your health. Number two is relationships. So 1 is I'm alone and I'm very lonely. Those 2 things are fine, are separate. Alone is fine. I know I go up to my studio and if I tell people if my door's closed, leave me alone. So alone is fine, but if you're alone and lonely and don't feel support in your life, so you may even have a great group of people around you, but if you're not feeling understood. So a 5 would be, my relationships are a 5, meaning I give and receive love easily. I feel supported, and I have the opportunity to support others as well. So that's in your relationships. Career and creative expression. So you could be rocking and rolling as an accountant, but you really love to hang glide as well. And you're not doing one of those things. Your career and your creative expression, that's going to impact your score. So a 1 in career and creative expression is I work all the time, and it's sucking my will to live. And a 5 is I wake up in the morning going, I get to do this for money. This is awesome. And our final, time and financial freedom. Again, you can have all the time in the world and no money to enjoy it, and all the money in the world and no time to enjoy it. So a 1 on our scale is I'm working all the time and I still don't know how, or I'm working for my family, I'm doing things for other people, however that looks. Or a 5 is I basically can do what I want when I want. I choose to work and that has some things, but I can do what I want when I want. So those are our 4 topics and pain points. So I would love to hear, just if you guys want to type in, and I will not call on anybody who's like, leave me alone, Michelle. I used to teach Sunday school and I did that because I was like, none of us want to be here. So I'm going to make you suffer as much as I am. So wow, that was just a terrible thing that came out of my mouth. Scott, can I get at least like a or you? No, nothing from Scott. All right. Oh wait, you got me, Scott? There you go. Thanks for having my back. I'll tell you, team. Mistakes aplenty. First being that person eating in Scott's ear and interrupting Tina, and then saying inappropriate things, which has happened. Have you guys been doing that? It's like the apocalypse stuff is like, whatever, we don't even know what's going on. I'm just going to show up as me. That's an opportunity. It's an opportunity because we're all going, yeah, Michelle, that was fairly inappropriate, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so I would love to hear right here. I was just telling you, I won't call on you, but I'd love to hear what area of the 4, remember, health, relationships, time, career and creative expression, and time and financial freedom. Where are y'all feeling the pinch? Who's got me? Oh, it looks like Tanya from Wyoming said that hers is in, come on, you guys, really? Oh, okay. The shoulds that oppress the most. Isn't that the truth? Shoulds, I call it should the real swear. You guys, everybody who knows me knows I have a fairly filthy mouth. I try real hard to, keep it appropriate for what I'm doing. But I think the real swear word is should. As I'm a mother of adult children, and me calling up my daughter-in-law and going, you know what you really should do with your kids? Ugh, right? That's just, ugh. All right, Tina goes, financial freedom still needs work, looking to get to that 5, right? Time and financial freedom. Yeah, yep. The Laura, thanks for sharing. Yeah, time and financial freedom. So we can actually, let's go down that route. Real quickly, what I would love to tell you today, I was thinking and I was strategizing with my team. You guys want to hear? I'm super excited to have a team now. I actually have a somebody. I have a boutique coaching practice, and so it's not like I've got a lot of behind the screen stuff. But I do have a team member now. I'm really excited because you can imagine you can hire some fairly awesome people. Monica, super great to have you here joining us. Monica says hers is relationships, feeling socially connected, but missing the physical connection. She's on lockdown in Cape Town, South Africa. Oh girl, I'd love for you to message me later and let me know how that's going, because what an adventure. Monica is, she is a, what does she call it? She is a citizen of the world. She introduced me to that term, and she really is. She travels all over the world, living her beautiful life, and learning these things. So relationships is a really good one to put right now, because as I was talking about, the things that we were able to let slide in the past, we can't rely on our normal toolbox right now. I can't say to my daughter, oh, I just said something that was really offensive to you. Here, let's go out for coffee and chat about it. We're having to pick up new tools than we've ever had before. And that's what my clients come to me for, is like, what tool do I use here? Or I don't have a tool to do this. And there are tools for everything you want to do. And one of those that I told you is the get out of your own brain thing, get out of the ruts. So I developed a program several years ago called 21 Day Life by Design. And that's my offer today. I was like, do I want to sell you something? But really I wanted to come to you as a resource. So what I'm offering today, I'm really excited about, is for you to text your email address to 503-498-8199. If somebody wouldn't mind, if one of the panelists wouldn't mind putting that in the notes, that would be a super great favor for me. That number again is 503-498-8919. Guess the rest, just kidding. 8199, 503-498-8199. Text to that number 21 Day LBD, 21 Day Life by Design. We're going to start the practice. Oh, thank you so much, Scott. We're going to start the practice on Monday. So you're going to go through this whole summit with all of the presenters here. And on Monday, you're going to get an email from me or from my teammate Zoe, and you're going to get an email, and it's going to invite you into very simple practices that are designed to get you out of that autopilot thing that structure loss has put you into. So think of 21 Day Life by Design as a fun game to play. I'm inviting you to a fun game to play. And what it does is it invites you into simple practices for 21 days that get you out of the old, the rut thinking, and gets you thinking about your life differently. So what we're going to do is you're going to get the 21 days of emails, and you're not going to get anything other weird thing. But then, so Monday, April 13th, you're going to get the email. So you're just going to start practicing. And oh, by the way, I'm inviting you to do it in your own way and imperfectly. There's not a right way to do this. My clients will tell you all the time. I'll say, okay, here's your life practice for the next 2 weeks. And they'll be like, oh, dude, you want to know what I did instead? Because there's not a wrong way to do it. We learn every time we do something and every time we don't do something and how we do something and how we don't do something. So don't get all freaked out going, the last thing I need is 21 more days of guilt. No, it's 21 days of play. There's a difference. This should feel good. So then we're going to do a check-in workshop. It's a check-in opportunity on Wednesday, the 22nd of April. Again, this is a complimentary thing. I'm going to invite my clients on too. And it's just to check in and go, hey, what did you discover? Because when we can look at when we decide not to label something as good or bad or sad or awful, sure, we get to mourn. We can mourn what life looked like. We can mourn what life looked like 3 months ago. Or even, if when you've gone through like terrible trauma, terrible loss, we get to mourn, if it pops up, allowing the emotions is a really important thing. Because remember, emotions are driving us, but we have to, only if we're in the driver's seat, only if we're Irma and we go, no, I'm driving and right now I feel sad. Or no, I'm driving and right now I feel scared. And Tina taught me that if I get closer, it'll look smaller. And so we use one new tool. So 21-day Life by Design, you're going to text it to 503-498-8199. Scott put it right in the notes. And then we'll have a check-in and see how that's going. Some of you are going to get everything you want from me in that. And some of you are going to go, hey, Michelle, how do I get some structure around not having structure? And I'm open to talking to you about that. This is a resource for you. It's an opportunity for you to actually have a life coach in unusual circumstances. So if you've ever even thought, geez, I just really like somebody to help me put some structure around this, this is your time. This is your time to go out and take it for a test drive, and please have it be fun. I get bored with not fun. So workshopping it out. Go to your thing: health, relationships, career and creative expression, and time and financial freedom. And we identified the area that, this is so genius. My partner in crime, Zoe, my teammate here, said also to text your email address. So text email addresses. I can't remember what I told you. So put your email, I probably said it wrong. Put your email address and text it to the number in the notes, 503-498-8199. So going back to your, what is bugging you the most right now? What doesn't feel good? What feels tight, doesn't fit? Go there. And now we're going to forecast forward, and I'm going to give you some wiggle room in here. Anybody who wants a one-on-one session about this is something I would also do complimentary. If you're like, I know I need to do this, I need you to interview this out of me. That's one of the things that I do. You can also put interview in there. So text that number, put 21-day Life by Design, and put your email address, and you can also put in their creation session. All of this complimentary. Our goal as a company at Life Mastery is to be a resource for you during your structure loss. Okay, so going back and going, this didn't feel good, this felt tight, or even I didn't realize that I was uncomfortable in my career until this happened, because I simultaneously am super happy I don't have to go to work, and also I'm scared because I also want to make money. Those are all situations. So go to your pain point, and now you get to choose. You can have it be 1 month, 3 months. Tina was talking about, what is your plan what if this goes 6 months? Or what would you love for it to look like in 6 months? Or if you're going, I'm pivoting hardcore, Michelle, 6 months isn't going to get me the momentum that I'm looking for. So you can do it a year out, or what I guide my clients through in normal circumstances is a 3-year vision, because we can create a good deal of momentum in 3 years and accomplish way more than we think we can. While 1 year sometimes doesn't give us the momentum. One of the questions was asked, what are the email and text number? Thank you so much for asking that, because it can go a little convoluted sometimes. The email address, 503-498-8199 is for you to sign up with your email address for a program that I've designed called 21 Day Life by Design. It's the playful part of structure loss. That's what that is. When you do that, if you put 21 Day Life by Design, put your email address, you can also put creation session, ? And I or somebody else will reach out to you and get you a link to a calendar. So that's what that's for. Venus, love your name. I'm living in Iran, and due to sanctions, I'm not sure I can send a message to the number you just mentioned. Is there any alternative? Absolutely. So you can send your information to Michelle at Play, MICHELLEATPLAY @ Gmail. So that it sets people off sometimes. I'm typing it into the notes, and the way you can remember that is from a story that I'm actually going to tell you right now. Am I going to tell you that story right now? No, I'm going to finish giving you your assignment. I'll tell you the story in a minute. So forecast, I love the giggle that I got from somebody. Thanks for listening, guys. So that was you, Tina. Thank you. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do next is, yes, Venus, you are very welcome. I'm super glad you're reaching out. So just do the same thing, 21 Day LBD or creation session, and you're set to go. So what we're going to do next is we're going to forecast forward whatever amount of time. I would tell you no less than 3 months and no more than 3 years. Forecasting forward anywhere from 3 months to 3 years, looking at the area that's causing you the most discomfort right now and writing in present tense. So imagine that it's whatever your time period, forecasting forward. Oh, you're not good to go. We need the emails. I have to have your emails because you don't want me to call you. So if you're messaging to that telephone number, make sure and put your email in there. So forecasting forward, whatever period of time you've chosen, imagine that you're writing a journal entry and you're like, that crazy Michelle, I never would have imagined when I listened to her talk back in April, on April 10th at the Peace and Pivot Summit, I never would have imagined how great things turned out. So you're writing it as if it's already happened. What I love about my time and financial freedom, imbue it with detail. So when you say, oh, I have all the clients I want and there's a waiting list, give it, how many are all the clients? When you talk about time and financial freedom, how much time do those clients take? And how many dollars, how much energy is coming back to you in that period of time? Because time and financial freedom, we don't want to just go, I would never say for my vision, I'm rocking and rolling. I have a full schedule all the time because honestly, more than 3 groups or 3 clients a day sucks my will to live. So I get to go, so where you're going to go in very detailed. And so you're going to imbue it with detail. And then here's the superpower. Remember, Tina and I both talked about that today. Your emotions are to guide you. They're to fuel you and move you forward. What emotion inspires you to make changes in your life? Remember, you're in a perfect position to make changes because life has just thrown you structure loss in dozens of ways. So since you're already uncomfortable, what have you changed and how does it make you feel? I am so happy and grateful now that, and then you get to write it in. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have clients and we interact, or my relationships, or I'm physically touched by that person of my dreams. I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. You guys want 2 minutes? I got an extra 10 minutes. Does anybody have any questions about the assignment? Excellent. I'd sing for you, but that'd be distracting. But I will play music for you. Unless that'll make.
No, don't play music.
Don't do it. Yep, that's what you hear me say, unless. And Scott's like, don't do it. All right, but I'm not going to sing either. You have, starting right now, because I've been chit-chatting, you have 1 minute starting right now. I'm so happy and grateful now that. You have 10 seconds. So as you finish up your writing, what I'm inviting you into is really look at those emotive words. So excited is actually an unsustainable emotion, but enthusiasm, because we all know those there are the days where we wake up and we go, I need to show up and make the donuts, as my husband always says. I need to show up and make the donuts, but there are days we do not want to make the donuts of our lives. Honestly, I love what I do. And there are days where I wake up and I go, I'm tired, or I'm emotionally spent from my own work that I'm doing on myself. And then we remember, because I'm very enthusiastic about what I do, no, I'm going to show up and make the donuts. It doesn't matter that I'm tired today. I can rest. I will make time for that. But in this moment where the structures of our lives, every single one of us, this is my favorite world war of all time, because for the first time, the first world war ever, we're fighting to save people's lives. Think about that. This is a world war. We have become a world community. And we're fighting against something. Well, let's fight for our lives as well, for our level of comfort and joy. The only thing we know for sure is that we're having a human experience. And if that human experience is not what you want it to be, the infinite, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, something has brought you an opportunity today through structure loss. And it hurts, man. This does not feel good. There are days where I go, oh, what do? I'm gonna plant a garden because what about food, right? There are days where I go down that rabbit trail. We all do. But this is an opportunity like I've never seen. None of us have ever seen this before. And it's a lot of things. And one of them is an opportunity. And when we get to change our thinking around things, we get to get a different result. So would anybody feel so brave and powerful and strong and not shy today? Because come on, we're all wearing our apocalypse pants. It's not just, actually, I didn't wear them, but they look similar to the apocalypse pants. The tinsel is so breathable. Anyway, we're all here. We're all like, let's just get real about this, shall we? This is weird. And it's frankly quite upsetting on certain days, but it's also, we get to acknowledge that, but it's also a hell of an opportunity. So does anybody want to be brave? You all going to be chicken? Because I'd love to hear, I'm so happy and grateful now that, or whatever your version is. But if you're going to be a chicken, I'm going to start harassing people. Mostly for fun, honestly. Anything? Raise your hand. You know, there's a hand raise. Honestly, I have some clients on here and I know you're chit chatters. I know who you are. All right, I get nothing from you, but I love you all anyway. So let me explain what happened. So let's just say, I'm gonna use me because I've already told you kind of what I imagine, because my practice is changing. I've actually been really busy during this period of time because my clients are coming back to me going, hey, this doesn't feel good. And I'm like, I know, right? And then we work it back. We work it forward, we work it backward. We pre-member. That's what I just invited you to do. Pre-member. So I have this idea, right? It's kooky as hell. I'm going to be clear on that one. I don't want anybody to go, that Michelle thinks she's really super sane when she says stuff like this, but just roll with it, okay? What if, because, oh, Gina raised her hand. Well played, madam. Well played. So Scott, can I unmute Gina, or can we unmute Gina? How does that work?
I'll take care of it. Hang on here.
Look at you. Okay, Gina, don't say anything until I finish my story, and then I'm calling you in. And don't tell anybody, whatever you do, don't tell them you're my cousin, because I want to like seem like, okay, whomever this is, and then we'll just go from there. So just act it out with me if you will. So just go with this. So we know that we can remember. It's a part of the brain, and we can remember. And I can tell you that last night, late in the night, again, seriously, it's like I'm showing you my apocalypse pants, you guys. Last night, late at night, I went into my kitchen, made bacon for dinner, and I had just this little dash of bacon on top of my dinner, and I'm literally, it's like everybody in the house is asleep, and I'm like eating bacon. Because I can, right? We are all doing odd things that we don't normally do. But so I remember last night that I got weird because it happened last night, and everybody goes, well, of course that's what happened last night because you just told us and you remembered, and who would lie about binge eating bacon when everybody else is in bed, we believe you. But what if we could pre-member things, right? I mean, the French word is déjà vu. But what if because we don't know all of science. I'm not saying this is a fact. Let me be clear. Tina brought facts today, and I'm bringing a fun idea that makes me feel happy when I think about it. So when I invite you to pre-member, what I'm saying is go to a possible future that pleases you and write down what you think would make you feel the way you want to feel. And then share that feeling. So I'm so enthusiastic about my practice 6 months from now, because I suspect that, some of you are going to be in that practice, one of my group programs, one of my one-on-one programs, whatever. But I get to pre-member that and think about like working with you and thinking about how much I'll enjoy teaching you things that I know and learning about who you are and what you would love in your life. That's pre-membering for me. And do I believe that exact thing is going to happen? No, I don't know what it will look like. That would be cool, but what if it could be even better? That's what I'm inviting you into, is having ideas about what you can do, be, have, feel, and experience that you've never had before, because you have to think different thoughts than you've ever had before. So complete stranger Gina, are you there with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, cousin. So tell us what you did for your exercise.
You know what? I just barely joined you, so I'm so
so
sad that I missed the first part.
Okay, so it's okay. That's totally cool. But did you see that cousin love there? She just like jumped on in because she's like, I'm gonna support her, that complete stranger I've never met before. So Gina, the question was, as we're pre-membering, so you heard me say that part, as we're forecasting forward, as if our memories worked both ways. That's kind of the idea that I was doing it. What would you love to be doing, feeling, having, experiencing 6 months from now that you didn't necessarily think about before all the whole world turned upside down?
Okay, I'm going to try to make this super short, but in February on Valentine's Day, then my principal invited me to write a letter of resignation or be on probation. And that hurt a lot.
Real bad. That hurts. And wait, snaps to Gina, everybody in your hearts or in your homes, like snaps for Gina for sharing that, because that does hurt, and sharing it is scary. So way to go, my friend. Way to go, my cousin. So, okay, so you got that. So now what? So
I didn't want to be on probation because that goes on your permanent record. And I'm like, okay, I'll write a letter of resignation. And I'm hoping, dang, we rely on my income to pay bills. What am I going to do? Because I'm unsure now. What am I going to do? So I put in two job applications to 2 different schools. And I started filling out another one. And in fact, just last night, Dallin said, are you going to finish filling out that job application? And I go, yeah, I'm going to do that tomorrow. So I really was planning on doing it today. But today at 10 o'clock, I got a call from one of the schools that I had applied for and that I interviewed at, and they offered me a job. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so excited. And I've been trying so hard to have positive vibes. I've been trying to okay. And in my job interview, then she said, can you tell me why we should hire you? And I said, well, I'm a really good teacher. I teach reading really well. And because I'm awesome. And then
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I thought, dang, I don't know if I should have said that, but I am awesome, you know? And I thought,
how cool would it have been if she'd said, why should we hire you? And you were like, well, I kind of suck, but how great would it be if you did it anyway? Right? I mean, of course you should say that. Well done. Beautifully done. And so I love what Gina modeled for us here, because what she said is, hey, I already ran against the wall. It was embarrassing. It was uncomfortable. It was scary. And then I thought, okay, well, what would I love to have happen? Well, I would not love to be on probation. I would not love that. I would love to get a job where I just get to show up and explain. And what might it be? You see, the energy of this sucks makes us sit at home and go, I don't know what to do because this sucks. But this is an opportunity that Gina got an opportunity. And what if, and I'm not even saying this is the truth or this is what will happen, but what if Gina loves this new job even better?
I think I will.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it.
Genius. Thank you so much, Gina. I really appreciate your support. It was really kind of you to raise your hand. So as we move forward, and Gina, I'm gonna tell Scott on the side. Don't tell anybody, but Gina.
Do I need to mute her right now? Is what you're saying?
Mute that woman out. Was she an internet troll or what?
She did it.
Just kidding. Gina, that, by the way, that was a joke you missed. So you're not a troll. You are my beautiful cousin. Thank you again so much. So as we're moving forward and as we're looking at everything, the feelings that we're having together are discomfort, structure loss. What do we do now? And the question, a high vibration question, remember when I talked about Einstein the Great, and I said, his quote is, and I'm probably paraphrasing, the problem isn't in the problem is in the thinking about the problem. So as we look at this, when we think about the problem, when we go, I don't know what to do, I don't have any resources, this isn't how I wanted it to look, what is happening here? Those questions, if you think about them, are not solution worthy. Why is this happening? This feels really uncomfortable. I don't want to do this. All of those things, in none of them is, I wonder what I could do that would be incredibly valuable to enough people that I can make more money than I ever did before, because they're getting so much value from me that I actually have all the time and financial freedom that I want. And I can even up my game then. Or in regard to relationships, I've been physically missing people. And what I would love to do now is support them by listening. Did you know the #1 way people feel loved is to feel heard? And I'll tell you what, team, it's way more of a skill than we ever thought we needed. To simply sit and be present with people and hear what they're trying to say to us, not what we think they mean. So this is an opportunity for relationships as well. I can't use my old tools. I can't use my tools in my relationships, in my health, in my career, in my time, in creating finances. I can't use the same tools, but your hands aren't tied behind your back. You've just been given an opportunity to get a new tool belt. That's what is happening. There are a lot of other true things too. But when we go back and we ask ourselves the question, what hurts the most? What is feeling the most uncomfortable? What's like a snake skin that I need to wiggle out of? And I've got the rough rock of an apocalypse. I couldn't remember the words, quarantine, but whatever. I've got the rough rock of a quarantine to get out of this skin. Have you guys felt that? That like, this is what I thought I wanted, you might say to yourself. But now you got what you wanted, and now it feels like a tight skin that is squeezing your life out of you. And that the rough rock that's provided is the quarantine, is the world shifting gears. So over the next few days, you're going to, or over the rest of this day and all of tomorrow, you're going to have the opportunity to listen to a lot of different kinds of experts, a lot of different kinds of personalities. As you listen to them, listen to how you vibe with them, the way they talk, because there might be, like Tina and I, like kind of a hand in glove thing. And Tina, you might have like really been vibing with Tina going, you know what, now's my time. I'm uncomfortable enough that I'm calling because a gifted therapist is a beautiful thing. Or you might be going, well, I'm doing this, but I'm not quite sure remember what, Michelle, because really it's a cool, funky idea, right? You might be looking at that, or you might listen to, oh, you know what? I heard Scott talk about this, or Tracy talk about that, or Juliet, or any of these people, and they might have crossover, but you're going to vibe with somebody or somebody's. You're going to vibe with people and select those. These are people that are offering tools, and you're going to recognize them because you start going, I really like what Tracy's talking about the podcast. We can all do that right now. So see who you're vibing with, reach out. If you're vibing with me, and I would love it if you do vibe with me and vibe with others. If you're vibing with me, you're going to text your email address. It's kind of hard because if you text me your text number, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I actually can't work with that. You're going to text me your email address. And I don't sell to anybody. I use my list very judiciously just for me. Text me your email address and you can put 21-day LBD for the 21-day Life by Design. It's the fun part of structure loss. Or you can go, I really want to take that opportunity with Michelle and see if I can, I have a few spots available. And so if you're like, oh, I really think I need to get more structure within this and I need to be interviewed, have this interviewed out of me, then also you can put in creation session or CS. I'm going to understand CS and my team's going to understand 21-day LBD. So that starts on Monday. The 21-day Life by Design starts on Monday. You'll get 21 days of emails every day. That starts on Monday the 13th. On Wednesday the 22nd. So that's going to give you you know, half of that time to kind of feel it out, see what practices feel good to you, and we'll have a check-in, and it will be a continuation of this community as well. This is where I'm offering this. I may go onto other platforms and offer it, but I created this for you. I created it because I'm happy you're here. We're all looking for resources. I know that I feel really humbled to be with the resources that are on this summit as well, and excited. Also, please feel free, if you're like, my girlfriend's been talking about a life coach, or you know, when we get together for coffee, you know, we've talked about having a coach, or we don't even know what to do forward. Share that number, the 503-498-8199 number, and tell them about the programs, because it's for fun, it's a resource for you, and it's an opportunity as we're dealing with structure loss. So as you move forward, whether I hear from you, or you are vibing with other people on this panel and you're moving forward, my invitation to you is, if somebody said, boil it down, my friend, boil it down, what are you inviting people into? And whether you got what you needed from me today, or you're coming along for the rest of the ride with me, my invitation to you is to ask yourself the different question and leave this apocalypse mode in neutral. Just put yourself in neutral and go, this is happening. I got a text message from a client the other day that said all the schools are closed in my area until the end of the year. And I texted back, I actually texted back the emoji, because what does it even mean, right? Is it an opportunity for that person's children to have a closer ties with them? Is it an opportunity to have the schedule slow down? I think we've all enjoyed that piece of it. There is an opportunity here. And truthfully, if I'm being honest, there are a lot of really good opportunities. And the first way to begin to recognize them is to sit back and go, the little emoji. You know, I like the one with the monocle because I'm a little bit of a drama girl. The one with the monocle going, I wonder what I can do with this. And if you don't know, if you're like, I don't even know what to do with this, that's what this summit is about. You're going to know about psychology, about sales funnels, about notes, about many different things from many different teachers who are providing you resources that wouldn't be available if we weren't in times of apocalypse. So when this whole thing started happening, I had what I like to call a wonky childhood. You know, some weird happened. Like real weird. But what happened from that was I started to develop some skills because of that. And we all have that. We can all look and go, that was at least a wonky moment in my childhood. And because of that,
I think it's kind of debatable, Michelle. You got skills? Come on now.
I got mad skills, dude. I got swear skills. I got listening. I got mad skills, Scott. So as we're looking at it, looking at the wonky things that have happened to us in the past, and most certainly the wonky things that are happening to us right now, we get to do the I wonder. I wonder, my friends, if I will see you on the 21-day Life by Design opportunity check-in on the 22nd. That is what is going to happen before, after you've been doing 21-day Life by Design for a week and a half. We're going to do a check-in. We're going to give you some more skills, some more tools in order to bring about that 6-month, 6-year vision of what you would love to have. But first we got to get neutral. Then we get to recognize the opportunities, and then we get to start choosing the next best step, the next right move. Thank you so much for sticking with me for this period of time. This has been a real pleasure. Thank you again to the organizers. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Oh, Scott just told me I still got 10 minutes. I still have
I
10
was
minutes.
just going to say, we are, our Australian is our next one. So she hasn't shown up yet. I do have a question
we can
though.
keep going. Yeah, absolutely. Ask me
I w-
questions. Ask any questions you want. Now that I know I have 10 minutes, and I think you've noticed I can riff for another 10.
Well, I
was
figured
like
you'd
trying to
10
wrap
minutes
it
for
out.
Q&A at the end, so we're
Yeah.
good.
I mean, everybody, I'm a consummate professional. I make no mistakes ever. And now I've left a specific 10-minute period of time for you to ask Q&As. Juliet, what you got?
Nothing. I was on a call and I saw the LBD. I thought you were giving away little black dresses.
Oh, I should. Or little
And
black nightgowns, because who's wearing their little back? I got really excited this morning, you guys, because I was like, oh, I've never worn this at an event before. I bought it like back in November. So could everybody just take a moment and go, oh, Michelle, how? Okay,
Oh,
thanks.
very
That's
nice.
that was plenty of appreciation there. Thank you. Elizabeth,
Can we
for your-
talk about that though? That's a good question though, because I think everybody is in their pajamas and Under Armour dry fit shirts for like 3 days straight, or a
So,
week straight in some cases. That I think one of the things about mental health is proper sanitization, grooming skills, and just having like a dress up, just dressing up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You know what? It's a really, really good point, Scott. That, we're like, I already admitted to you that I have apocalypse pants. First of all, it just sounds cool, right? Because I mean, it's like, hey, are you prepared for life? And it's like, well, not if you don't have a pair of apocalypse pants. So I found mine at Costco, anybody who's, gonna go out. But it's a really good question, because there is this fine line, and I'm actually going to take it a little bit of a twist that from what you were saying, Scott. Yes, we just turned this into a what are you wearing call? Because I called Juliet the other day to ask her about something, and I was like, Juliet, what are you wearing? And she's like, a t-shirt. And I'm like, no, make it up. I just want it to be spicy. But it's a really good question, because one of the gifts that I personally have experienced from what's happening is that I have significantly more time on my hands. I'm actually working more, but I'm driving around less. We live out in the middle of nowhere. That stranger Gina who wanted to talk, she's been to my house, and we live in the middle of nowhere, and so it takes me at least 15 to 20 minutes just to get to the grocery store. And so what I found is that I'm not going to the grocery store. I'm planning when I do go into the grocery store, but I have a lot more time on my hands. So the question is, are there days that I'm not wearing makeup? Yes. And am I really happy about that? Oh, yes, I am. But there will be levels. There is a ritual in the mornings. Erin and I get up, we have coffee, we talk for either 15 minutes if one of us has an early morning, or we talk for 2 hours if it's a Saturday, and we have a routine and a ritual, and it involves getting up and getting ready. I personally wash my apocalypse pants after 2 days wear. Sure, I live on a goat farm. Yes, I also paint, and I keep getting paint on them, which is why they're in now officially apocalypse pants, because I can't wear them in public. But the point is, don't miss the opportunity to relax and give yourself more time than you normally would. I'm discovering all sorts of preferences that I never gave myself time to discover before I was on apocalypse time. There's an opportunity in here both to establish rituals so that you stay on track, like Scott was saying, like, let's not wear the same thing like every single day, but there's also an opportunity to go, and today I did nothing, and it was lovely. All right, one of the things that I've been doing is walking our property. We have 25 acres. We've lived there for 9 years, and all of my family, including my tiny little baby grandchildren, except for the newest ones, know that property better than I do, because I never said to myself, you know what, Michelle, you deserve a nice afternoon walk of just walking the property. And there's this really cool log that's on it's not a log, it's a nice round post.
Tree?
It's a post it's part of the fence, but it's a big log that's just on a corner. It's to reinforce the corner, and it's back in the far corner of our property. And I'm not joking, it's got to be a 3-inch thick moss covering on it. Elizabeth and I were talking, we live in the Pacific Northwest, both of us, like a minute from each other. I mean, not a minute, because I live many minutes from everybody. But there's this big, thick carpeted covering on top of this log. And I literally like to take a 15-minute walk, that's just the beginning, just down to that part of the fence, because there's something about touching the moss. There's something about this, like what nature did. And I don't even know if it's not like I made it mean anything to me. I just really like to touch it. What are you? I would like everybody to know that I could have taken that a real dicey direction, and I didn't because of the professionalism. Sure, shouldn't have pointed out that I could have, but I didn't, and that's the important part. The question is, what things do you like to do that you were like, oh, I don't have time to just go for a walk. I don't have time to go down that just because that mossy green log got rained on, so it's gonna feel extra squishy. You actually do now. You have time to do what you want. So balance it. Indulge the hell out of yourself. Do that. And also work differently. Work in a way that's fun to you, differently than you've ever done it before. Laura Posey, lovely to have you throwing your thing. Well, first of all, Elizabeth is in her fancy clothes on top, sweats below. By the way, Elizabeth, all of my clothing is rated on its, like, can it pretend to be pajamas but still look professional? That's how I dress every day. I'm fully dressed. I'm like doing my thing. It's like, oh, I would never do that. No, Elizabeth, all of my pants need to feel like sweatpants. So way to go, sister. Yep, all of them need to feel that way. Laura says, I came to Australia for vacation and have been here for 3 weeks. I brought no dance clothes with me. Right, Laura? And if you're like me, if you're in the middle of nowhere, everything I have shipped to my house takes like 3 weeks. It's like a geographical oddity. It's 3 weeks from everywhere. It would be minutes if we could fly. Traffic and bridges change the equation. Absolutely. So yeah. So yeah, we are crows as the crow flies and minutes from each other, as life has it. Probably an hour right during apocalypse time, because the traffic's not that bad. Is the traffic bad right now? I haven't been anywhere.
Well, I can't go and visit you anyway, but the minute they lift the restriction, I'm going to be showing your doorstep. So that's
great.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. The minute they lift the restriction, come out. Even if we can't be together, we'll walk around, hang out with the goats. The horses are super friendly. Good times.
Yeah,
you can come down and
walk around, go see us. Yeah,
feel the mossy fence, the mossy fence. So again, because well, closing it all up, saying it concisely, this is an opportunity. We don't know exactly what they are, but we get to explore them. There is structure loss. It's one of the undergirding feelings, emotions that all of us are experiencing during the most exciting world war we've ever had. It's the war to save lives. And while we're in the middle of this war, taking things very seriously, the invitation is to look at what doesn't fit in your life. I have to make changes anyway. Where are the most direct, what's the next right move for you in order to create a different outcome that would never have been possible if this weren't happening right now? What are the opportunities that would not have been possible if we weren't experiencing the structure loss that we're experiencing? You can find me at michelleatplay.com. No, wait, that's a lie. I just lied to you, but at least I owned it. Mea culpa. You can find me at Michelle Young Coaching on Facebook. You can find me at Michelle at Play on Facebook. You can email me at michelleatplay@gmail.com. You can text me 503-498-8199. Text me your email address. Text me your email address. I didn't make that clear before, so I'm making it clear now. Text me your email address, and with LBD or 21-day LBD, 21-day Life by Design, to get your little morning shot of the fun part of structure loss. And if you're going, Michelle, I've got some things to sort out. I've got some direction, a place I want to go that I've never been able to go before. And you're like, I want to take her up on those few spots on the creation session. Put CS in that text to Michelle or to 503-498-8199. You can reach out to me. I've really enjoyed my time with you. And thank you again, everyone, for being here. Mic drop.
Thank you,
Oh, thanks,
Michelle.
Scott. My pleasure. It's been a real pleasure to be here, Elizabeth.
That's really fun. Okay, Scott, can we go to you or to our pause for?
Yep, let's take a 10-minute break,
Posey, I
everybody. Let's take a 10-minute break and come on back right at top of the hour for Laura Posey. Join us all the way internationally from down under.
Yay. Okay.